You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the April 28th meeting of the LaPorte County Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good evening. I'd like to call the April 28th LaPorte County Council meeting to order. Please silence all phones and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Auditor, for the roll call, please.
Brett Kessler,
Present.
Justin Keel,
Present.
Adam Karanka,
Present.
Mike Mullenhour,
Present.
Randy Novak,
Present.
Jimmy Pressel,
Present.
Mark Yagelski.
Present.
All are accounted and you have a quorum.
Thank you. At this time, I'll take motions of approval for the agenda.
Mr. President, I have a couple corrections to the agenda for this evening. Page 2, please add the wording public hearing on resolution 2025-3B above the top A resolution to LaPorte County, please. Then after the permission to start process for juvenile probation officer, the treasurer's office would like to add permission to start process to hire bookkeeper, comment 4, and a clerk at comment 3. Also on that page, remove community crossing matches from Mr. Bishop, the county planner. And then on the 4th page, if we could remove Purdue Extension from this evening's proceedings. Mr. President, that's all I have.
Second.
Mr. President, there was one wording correction, and that was on the same last page that had Purdue Extension on the bottom, up by LaPorte County Community Corrections in the very first paragraph, to remove the words food for training they are hosting. That should
yeah.
really be in the second paragraph, so just wanted to have you make that correction too.
So noted.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, all in favor of accepting the agenda as adjusted? Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Approval of the March 24th, 2025 meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Novak,
Second.
second by Mr. Pressel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. Public comment.
Good evening. Steve Hollifield, 6782 East 100 South, Mill Creek, Indiana. I'm here. I'm hoping that you guys have had a chance to look at the paperwork that Mr. Rosenbaum submitted through the Legislative Service Agency about the cuts we're facing this year. It's about 5%. They're pretty serious. The townships are 5 to 10%, which they've got plenty of slack. Schools are 3 to 4%. Libraries 3 to 5. The TIFs are all over the board. It shows that we have a serious need to grow over our tax base in a sensible manner with jobs and extra housing coming in. I hope you guys look seriously at attrition. There's people retiring. Maybe we should consider not filling those positions and look at it another a year down the road. That'll show savings not only in salaries, but benefits package as well. We've been buying technology for decades. Other businesses are using this proper. That way no one, on record, no one is losing their job. We're 60 days approximately from budget hearing. The employees are being tired of being passed over raises. I hear it daily on my phone, emails. They stop at my office. They even stop in my farm or stop in the fields where I'm working. They're tired of it. We'll face an even bigger issue if we lose the majority of our experienced help, especially like in our county highway department. They can make twice the money someplace else. This is something we really seriously need to address. I'd like to look at the possibility of a meeting with the council, commission, department heads that are elected before the budget hearing starts, so we can look at what we're facing, because I don't think it's going to get any better in the future. We're looking at about 2.3 million next year, 2.6 the following year, and 2.75 the third year. And I don't think it's going to get any better in the future. So I don't envy you guys in your position one bit at all right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment. Come on forward.
Hello, my name is Marie Wiltfong, and this is my Gina Clute. We work for LaPorte County government. We have worked for the county for over 30 years. We're here to stress that we are in need of being recognized with step increases. Step increases end at 27 years. As you can see, neither one of us are ready to retire. We're not old enough. We work hard, just like anybody who's worked for 3, 6, 9, 12, 18, 21, 24, and 23 years, who are getting the incentive to stay by their step increases. We are staying, we are working, we come in every day just like anybody else. And we would ask greatly that you consider to change the step increase schedule. We are at a standstill in our pay. As you know, we have not gotten raises. We get no steps. We have nothing. The last time that there was no raises for the county, it was a 7-year stretch. Yes, we were here, but at least we had our step increases. We do not have those step increases now. We have nothing. Yes, we have our paychecks, but I guarantee everybody in this office, in this panel, has worked with us. We've worked with you. We've gotten you certificates. We've done your marriage licenses. I'm speaking about me personally. The other offices, surveyor's office, Tim Herold. I'm sure he's come out to survey some of your properties. We have the knowledge that the county needs. We also are asking that you consider to change the steps. And I don't only mean 27 to 30. I know people who have been here 40 years. Cookie in recorders. Has anybody gone and done anything in the recorder's office? I guarantee you've been helped by Cookie. 40 years without a, or 20 or 10 years without a step increase? How is that fair to the ones who have sat behind and worked and come in? And we have trained and helped the ones who are here for the 3, 6, 9, and 12. And I don't know about anybody else, but I give my knowledge. I give my knowledge to anybody who asks of it. I'm asking, seriously asking, to consider to redo the step increases for the county employees. And I'm going to give you an instance. My husband worked for the county for 40 years before he had to retire. Do you have any idea, not getting any type of step increases, how that affected his retirement? We are looking to retire someday, but not anytime soon. We're young. Yeah. If you start at 19, if you start at 19, are you telling me by the time you're 47, you're not knowledgeable, you're not helpful, you're not pulling your weight in the county? If that's the case, they probably would have fired you. But if you're still there, you're pulling your weight. You're doing your job. We deserve to have this looked at. Seriously looked at. I understand the county's in a predicament, but I also know the county also gives money for other things. It's not like there's 100 people that have been here 30 years. We're looking at 25. 25. What's that going to do to the county budget? Is it really going to hurt the county budget? No, I doubt it. It's going to hurt us, though. It's going to hurt us greatly in our retirement and our paychecks.
Okay.
Any questions?
Thank you for coming in and advocating on the behalf of yourselves and other employees that are in that situation. To help us get an idea about what this might cost, Mr. Auditor, would your office be willing to prepare some sort of statement of what it would cost to continue the step increases going into the future?
Excuse me. We can certainly work on that because we would be the only ones that have that information.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have looked into it
Yeah, like a number.
In the past.
in the past, yeah.
You guys understand what that's all about, don't you? We give a lot of raises up front. You might. Yep, I'm sorry. We give a lot of raises up front. That's what the idea of it was. It was meant to get the people up front to get their salaries back up. This has been in place for maybe some years. It was placed in that way for that reason, but it's up to the council what they want to do.
All right. Any other further public comment?
Good evening. Tim Stabos, 1501 Michigan Avenue, former LaPorte County Auditor. I have two issues I'd like to bring up about what you deal with in the auditor's office specifically. I have concerns as the former auditor. We, including my former chief deputy, who is here tonight, I'll use the phrase busted. She busted her ass on behalf of you to come up with balances that were adjusted for additional appropriations and they were adjusted for motions of support. The current balances that you're getting are cash balances. I don't appreciate, as a citizen, as a former LaPorte County auditor, that we had a motion of no support from some of you that were especially vicious on the matter. You're not getting information that you need, and I say this as a member of the public and as a former LaPorte County auditor, to measure or do appropriations unless you blindly just follow what the auditor tells you to do. So I resent it, and I wonder why you're not demanding from this auditor that he provide the same thing that we provided, which was actually useful to you, which is information on where balances are based upon adjusting for suspense items or items that are appropriated that have not been utilized yet, or motions of support. That's number one. And number two is, as a private citizen, I have sought to utilize the auditor's, the records in the auditor's vault regarding researching a historic property that I own at 108 Lincoln Way. I explained to the auditor after the last commission meeting my desire to get in the vault. These are public records that are accessible to anyone, and that was to research an 1880s house to look at duplicate tax records. Now, over the last 30 years, I have been in the recorder's vault under the graciousness and the law of Clerk Stevens, of the late Bob Beeler, former mayor of Michigan City, under Lynn Spivak. I've been in the clerk's vault. I've been in the recorder's vault under current recorder Bilderbeck, under Barbara Dean, God rest her soul, under Johnny Stimley and others. And I've been in the auditor's vault I've looked at these duplicate tax records under the esteemed Ken Layton, former auditor, and Mr. Hinchman, and even under Mrs. Winsky. These records used to be kept in the courthouse basement and were accessible to anyone who went in the basement. They weren't even protected. The items in the vaults are public records, whether it's historical tax records, court cases that are a matter of public record. There's not supposed to be anything in the vaults that are not matters of public record. And I would like to get into the vault, and I'm bringing it up publicly because I asked Mr. Rosenbaum to hear back from him. This is outstanding now for upwards of 10 days, I believe, to get into the vault. I told him what I was looking for. I said, can you go in the vault with me? And I can't get in the vault. So I'm bringing this up as a matter of public record because these are public records that anyone is entitled to. So hopefully we can get some action. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Just one note. This board does not have any authority over the vault, as much as I appreciate the concerns. And
Sure.
heard them through. Just want to make sure you're.
I'm drawing public attention to this matter. Any member of the public, I would encourage any member of the public who's interested in looking at the auditor's vault to come to the office or any of the vaults, that these are public records and they have a right to look at them.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Any public comment on Zoom? Public comment is now closed. Department head reports.
Good evening, Council. How are you? Just want to give you an update on the Juvenile Center. First of all, I want to start off by congratulating our Employee of the Month, Leanne Holmes. She's been with us for 31 years. Extremely hardworking, and she's a great representative of who we are at the Juvenile Services Center. And I just want to congratulate her and thank her for being nominated and by her peers and being named the Employee of the Month. Currently at the Juvenile Services Center, we are servicing 34 youth. And the breakdown of the 34 youth that we are serving currently, on our emergency shelter residential side, we have 8 juveniles. On our secure side, we have 10 juveniles. In our Nova Michigan City program, which is at the A.K. Smith Center, we currently have 4 juveniles that we're servicing. And at our Nova LaPorte program, we are currently have 4 students enrolled there. On GPS, we have 9 students, and our community supervisors are monitoring them. And this week, we'll have 2 more additional on-home detention. So currently, we're servicing 34 youth, and we'll have 2 more added to that number by the end of this week. In our secure side, which is our DOC side, or our detention side, we currently have 1 direct file or 1 juvenile that's been charged as an adult who is 17 years old. In our Athens Virtual Academy, we have 2 of our former students that are still actively involved in that, and we're very proud of that fact. On June 12th, we will be hosting the Michigan City Youth Leadership Academy at our facility. They're going to bring about 40 youth over, and we're going to talk about what actually happens at the Juvenile Services Center. Magistrate Stallworth is going to speak, and possibly Judge Havens will speak as well, and we'll just demonstrate and show them some of the things that we do, and we're very happy to host them. On May 8th, we're happy to announce that some of our team members will be graduating from Purdue Northwest Leadership Institute. It's a very prestigious institution. We will have Joe Bunch, who is our NOVA director. We'll have one of our supervisors, Dante Dennis. We'll also have Chief Probation Officer LaShawn O'Neill and Assistant Chief Probation Officer Deb Ackerman. One of the things that we were deliberate and strategic in doing is making sure that we're building together with our probation department because we want all of our activities to be seamless, and we're really, really enjoying the fruit of that. Last month, we met with the LaPorte area school system, and we want to thank Ben Tonago for his support and his help. We appreciate what they've done. We just hired a new teacher, and in hiring a new teacher with the difficulties that we face, we sometimes have to get college-educated people and get emergency license. And we're thankful for the LaPorte area schools that they allowed us to come under their accreditation. We also were very happy about some of the talks that we've had with them, and we're in conversation and talking about how maybe they can adopt us or incorporate some of their teachers into our system so that we can alleviate this difficulty that we have with our teachers. As you know, most teachers are paid on basically a 9-month salary. Our teachers start off at the same base salary, but they're working the additional 3 months. And that's one of the disparities that we have that we've got to clean up so that we can have an even playing field and hire legitimate teachers. Not legitimate teachers, but hire teachers that would get an equal pay. I want to thank the council. Our new roof will begin being put on May 12th, and we're very, very happy about that. It's been a long time coming. And to date, we have contributed $345,740.19 to the general fund. Thank you.
Thank you. One quick question.
Sure.
So earlier you mentioned, I believe it was 10 on residential, 8 on secure. Mm-hmm. You've got, if I recall correctly, you've got 12 available cells on both sides, or 12 available beds on both sides, but yet 2 of them I think are still unusable, correct?
No, what I said was we have eight juveniles on residential.
8 on residential.
Which is our DCS side, and
Yep.
we have 10 on the secure side. We had been waiting for 2 toilets to be fixed.
Correct.
They came in, and Miss Davis and the crew had them installed, but they sent us the wrong parts to it. They were able to get one functioning by engaging that, who she brought in, but we didn't have the right parts. So currently, we have 11 that are available. Only 1 is down at this moment.
Okay. But so to my point, it seems like you're getting quite full.
Well, a lot of it is because of the secure side.
Yeah.
And we have kids on our residential side that really shouldn't be there because we've been filled up with a lot of tough crimes, and because we don't have the space on the secure side, those juveniles have to be placed on the residential side. And it's really an unequal balance having some of those kids with our residential side. Some of the kids on our residential side have not committed crimes. They're victims of abuse and so forth and so on, but because of our limitations, we have to move them. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for the added detail.
Thank you, Dion.
Any additional department heads?
Good evening, Council. My name is John Matwishin. I'm the county surveyor for LaPorte County. And I'm approaching you for permission to make an expenditure for a cell phone. It's something that the department has never had, at least in the last 12 years. The prior surveyor used his business phone for county business. But I don't have a business to use the phone for. The amount, I want to conform to whatever the standards are in the county. I can't get numbers that are hard. I'm told a phone would be $1,000 and service would be $100 a month. And this would come out of the perpetuation fund, account number 30120 of location 0271.
Mr. President.
Yes.
Mr. Yagowski.
I do know for a fact that you have talked to Mrs. Grammarosa, Commissioner Grammarosa. She's asked for a couple of things and you still haven't got back to her. I just talked to her just like an hour ago. She said you've had 3 or 4 conversations, but you haven't returned you haven't given the answers she's asked for. The simple thing is she'll help you get to this process. The phone prices are not what we're talking. That's not what we have here. So IT works with all the department heads, and we can ask for a transfer. But you were working with Ms. Grammarosa. What happened with the conversation with you?
I spoke with Commissioner Grammarosa at 1:30 this afternoon.
Right.
And she suggested I come here and make the request during department head.
Okay.
Aren't all the cell phones under IT now?
Yes.
Didn't we move them all?
Yes.
So
that's not
they're
just the only case.
managed by IT. Like building and planning, they pay for their own. Highway pays for their own.
Yeah.
So they have sub-accounts under the
Separate ones.
commissioners.
Yeah, right.
And that's the same thing that we're looking at doing for the surveyors, is creating a sub-account and putting his phone under there, so he would be able to pay for that phone out of his perpetuation fund. Phones can range from free to $1,000. I mean, some of them are free with Verizon or AT&T.
Was this approved by the commissioners?
Pardon me?
Was coming to the council approved by the commissioners?
No.
Because there's an issue.
No.
There's an issue. Here's what I'm saying. I don't want there to be confusion because we approved something and then the commissioners didn't approve it and then we're the bad guys.
Ms. Grammarosa,
I don't have a problem doing it. I just want to make sure the steps were followed.
I agree.
So we don't-
I think one thing that has to happen prior would be him to have a telephone account so that when it does happen, he can pay the bill.
but to this point, we could just transfer money. That's not been a problem. He was working with Mrs. Grammarosa. I don't understand. There's been some issues with the communication on the commissioner's side with this department.
Right.
So I'm suggesting that you go find out which account you want to take out of, which is fine. Make sure you have money in that account. You can work with Mr.
Go ahead. I have something to add.
You can work with Mr. Rosenbaum, and he can give you all the information. So he can help you out. That office there can help do this stuff and ask for what you want. But same as Mr. Novak, I don't want to get in the middle of something where they're going to say you came to us first when you should have went to the commissioners. So
I don't have a problem doing it at all, but we're not going to be accused of circumventing the commissioners.
Right.
When everybody's supposed to go to the commissioners first for permission, that's their rule.
Your accounts are available by Mr. Rosenbaum. You go to his office. You guys have to work that stuff out before you get to us. I mean, all we is going to say, we'll transfer the money.
That's an easy one.
Okay, I'm following the directions I was given, and the most recent directions was at 1:30 this afternoon, and I'll follow whatever procedure is standard for.
Personally speaking, I don't have a problem with it. I can't speak for everybody unless
Well, I mean, ultimately,
motion of support to, let's use that fund if the commissioners approve it. What do you want? Lynn?
I want to share that this has to be advertised because if you're going to use the funds.
Correct.
So
Going to prompt that.
we
Unless it's a
need to know
transfer.
by Monday an amount so we can work with him to get the amount, we can appropriate it, and then he's got to go through the process with the commissioners.
That was my point.
And that's the next, that's all I wanted to make sure.
Corner fund.
And that's what I said.
But we have to get that out sooner than later, and we just
corner
can't
fund
wait.
has to be appropriated every year.
Yes.
We usually do it the first of the year.
And I have no trouble waiting another month or two.
Yeah, just
So
you just need to
let's
go to
follow the
Mr.
procedure.
Rosenbaum's office. He'll get you all the information.
Because
you
this is
want.
the first
You
time
need to get on the
I'm hearing the
agenda
we need to do an appropriation.
to spend that money, a chunk of money out of your perpetuation fund up front.
Mr. Masterson, how long have you been working on this?
Since January, actually since December, when I first met with the president of the, actually the current president of the commission.
How many hours do you think you put into this, just on the phone issue?
I just speaking with Commissioner Gamarosa, probably 3 hours in the last.
I'm disappointed that an elected official, duly elected official, is now struggling for going on 4 months and is having to spend hours in order to get a phone. That's disappointing. So I hope that the commissioners will move quickly to get this resolved for you.
Right,
We should be supporting you to do your job successfully.
And I thought I was following the procedure based on my most recent information, which was at 1:30 this afternoon. But if there's another procedure, I'm perfectly willing to adhere to whatever it is.
And at the very least, it would be, we'd have to advertise it for next month anyway.
Okay.
So, I mean.
Sure.
Yeah, there's,
That's fine.
But no matter what, you need to work with the auditor
Okay. Thank you.
for even your future. I mean, you have a budget coming up. You're going to have to understand the budget. So you need to
Right.
go and sit with them. They will explain things to you.
because you can't spend anything out of that fund until you get it appropriated. So you need to be working with somebody to know exactly what you need out of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Good evening. I'll make it brief, as one person used to say all the time. We have a public input meeting for the Hunt Lake property that's up by Rolling Prairie coming up on May 20th, Tuesday, May 20th, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. at New Prairie High School in the Cougar Den. So that is on our website and Facebook page. But for people that live up that way or just want to have some input on this potential new park down the road, however long out that may be, please come and show up for this master plan meeting and help us kind of get things lined out for that. The time is 5:30 to 7 on May 20th, Tuesday, May 20th at New Prairie High School at the Cougar Den.
May 20th.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Sorry, I put my notes.
Any additional department heads? Hearing none, department head.
Is Amanda, I think Amanda might have.
I didn't know.
Amanda, did you have something? She's not on there? Never mind. Sorry.
All right, no problem. Hearing none. Department head reports are now closed. Liaison reports. Mr. Pressel.
Nothing to report, Mr. President.
Mr. Yagowski.
Just, you spoke too fast in that one. Us three that you appointed for the maintenance group, we've seen to make some inroads to the areas that we visited. We're looking at trying to assist with some plans of getting two college people in, one for Michigan City, one for LaPorte. There's actually a program they already have, but this is kind of another next step you go into that we never utilized before. But it'll be able to tell us not only the work orders, but it'll have we'll have slips of forms that are on the units themselves and tell when the service has to be done. A lot of things that we just have lacked in the past. So we want to get that. They're not going to be working in just their internship just to get the program started. So I believe that'll get us to the next step, and then we'll understand a lot more things. That if we go up to a motor, it'll tell you, or a filter, it'll tell you what we need to do.
So we're talking exclusively preventive maintenance and just getting our arms wrapped around where we're at. Perfect. I love it. Thank you.
Excellent.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Just have a couple things. On March 25th, I attended the LaPorte County Board Planning Board meeting regarding the solar fields. There was discussion and votes on that, so I wanted to be present for that. On April 8th, I attended the Animal Shelter Board meeting. I'm not a liaison, but there was some issues that I'd heard about, and I wanted to hear how that was going. April 9th, I attended the Sheriff's Merit Board meeting. In April 9th, I also attended the Solid Waste Joint District Board meeting. And on just recently, a matter of fact, it was Saturday, I spoke with EMA Director Rob Saby, and he had some possible upcoming requests that he may be making, and he's going to do a little bit of researching on that. So I'll pass that on when I get that. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Keel.
I spoke with several of my liaison assignments, no substantial updates to share this month, but I do want to highlight the email that I sent out over the weekend, which was summarizing some of the changes that we're going to be looking at with Senate Bill 1, and then also to changes in public health funding. And Mr. Hollifield pretty much covered some of the key points with Senate Bill 1, so I won't be repeating what he said, but the bill itself is 350 pages long. There's a lot to go through in there, and we're still waiting for summaries from someone who's brave enough to read through the entire thing and all of the work that comes with that. I also want to call attention to, we're looking at a cut of possibly around $1.9 million in public health funding because of changes to the funding formula for that. So we'll need to be keeping a close eye. That may require us to shift more of our property tax levy back to the health department where we had reduced it before. So things to be looking at on our plate. And then that's on top of some of the other issues, the employees who raise concerns about wages and capital projects that might be coming in the future and many more things that we need to solve. So we're going to have a busy budget season.
So I have an open invite out to Representative Pressel and Senator Bahacek in order to discuss Senate Bill 1 and specifically that and House Bill 1461, being that those affect, general levy as well as roads and transportation funding. So after speaking with Representative Pressel this afternoon, he was definitely interested in being here next month. He's recovering from session.
And as a one final thing, my recommendation would be that in order for us to wrap our heads around this and have a clear picture of what we need to do come budget season, I'd recommend that we consider hiring a firm, be it Baker Tilly, Carl Sender, someone with expertise in this who can help guide us through this process. This is very specialized stuff, and if we're trying to do it ourselves, we may not get there fast enough.
Agreed.
That concludes my report.
Mr. Novak.
Attended the FMEC regular meeting, redevelopment commission meeting this last Wednesday. Building maintenance committee is Jimmy and Mark were there. The insurance meeting, we talked about some things with the insurance. Spoke with 911 and extension office, and I agree. As you've seen in my reply to the email that Justin sent out, after thinking about it, at this point, I think we need to get started as soon as possible with somebody crunching the numbers, but I'd make a motion that we reach out to Baker Tilly to see about engaging them to give us an analysis so we can see what LaPorte County actually is instead of, and just for the record, there's other state reps in LaPorte County besides those two, just saying. We invite them all. Just saying. They're good guys. They're good guys. I love them, but yeah.
Mr. President, I think if any of the two gentlemen want to do it, I think they have to go in front of the commissioners because it's in their
Baker
budget.
Tilly?
Any one of the two that they have to.
Baker Tilly under contract?
They're under specific contract for GAP, but they're not under this general contract. So I can contact them and to get an engagement letter regarding this matter.
So my request would be that the commissioners.
Well, Mr. BG, could you clarify, do we actually need to seek commissioner approval for something like this? Because I'm pretty sure we can contract for certain services related to our financial matters. I'm not trying to cut out the commissioners, but this is a core function, just like we hire you without their permission.
Right. Well, I'm special. So.
You're special.
I think you can hire direct. I would recommend we follow the normal procedure, and Mike gets an engagement letter. They at least review and approve. If they were to deny it, I think the council could do it anyway.
Yep. But we understand.
I don't think we'll have a denial. need to get started.
dime, we're not asking to come out of the commission, so to speak,
Yeah.
professional services, but.
But otherwise, they engage and they approve contracts and agreements, so I think it's a good idea.
Okay.
All right, so I changed my motion
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
I'll second it.
to include all that.
So motion by Mr. Novak to approach Baker Tilly or some other, is it Baker Tilly specifically?
Baker Tilly specifically.
Approach Baker Tilly and help to understand our budget a little bit further with the impacts coming from recent state legislature. And a second from Mr. Keel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kessler.
Guess I should have left my mic on. Attended small animal board. We're going in a pretty good direction. Mr. Novak, did you attend that meeting on Friday? Or you did not.
Could not make it. Sorry.
They did have an emergency meeting on Friday, which I was not able to
did try to
attend.
call her. She-
Okay, thank you. But I think we're getting things straightened out there and got things going in the right direction. So that's the liaison report I have for this month. Thank you.
Thank you. To sum up my month, basically, as we'll talk further, declaration of emergency repair regarding the Hyler building and its basement leak and issues that continue to keep, the gift that keeps on giving, as well as some other purchasing related matters in discussion with the commissioners. So with that concludes my report. Moving on to under ordinances and resolutions, we'll talk about the declaration of emergency repair. In your packet, you should see the declaration of emergency repair signed by myself and Commission President Grammarosa. As I recall from previous agendas, it looks to be that we need a review and approval from the council.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Novak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Yagowski.
Discussion.
Discussion.
Did we receive more than one quote or bid for this work?
Ms. Davis or Commissioner Hoffield, if
We had sewage backing up in a building full of people who were working. We deemed that it was best to take it and get it done. And in the process of maybe a $50,000 bill, we found 2 fuel tanks buried in the ground, which I'm sure there's more than one buried in downtown LaPorte. We had them removed. You had to wait for another government agency to allow us to tell us that the dirt was okay. So it's going to be costing more, but the employees with sewage backing up in the building, we deemed it necessary to have it done. That's why we asked for a declaration of emergency.
understand.
And Mr. President, if I might add, there's not a bidding requirement on emergency.
As I reviewed,
We're looking at it right now.
Yeah.
well, yes, Mr. Novak, go ahead.
So it's my understanding that they're just remediating the damage, they're fixing the sewer pipe, they're taking all the, so there's no sewage or anything, removing everything, and then they're going to stop, and then they're going to figure out what it takes to put it back together.
Yeah, they got down to the point now, we got approval Friday evening from IDEM finally.
Correct.
And they're digging it out today. They proceeded to cut the pipe. So right now the bathrooms are out in the Hyler. They have the porta-johns out back, and they have the employees have use of other bathrooms.
That's all part of the emergency repair.
Part of the emergency. So we are currently fixing Mr. Mayor Dermody's infrastructure in downtown LaPorte.
My point is inside the building where the walls were taken out, they're stopping at that point, and then the reconstruction is going to be paused. Is that
That's
the way you understand?
That's the scope
Yes,
that I
we're just
understood.
we're just fixing the broken pipe outside.
Correct. And
Yeah.
then they're going to figure out who's going to fix the inside.
Yeah,
So that part
for
hasn't proceeded.
the bathrooms inside. Yeah.
So to Mr. Keel's point,
So I want to point out, and then I brought this up under previous emergency issues before, 36-112-9. The board, upon a declaration of emergency, may contract for a public work project without advertising for bids if bids or quotes are invited from at least 2 persons known to deal in the public work required to be done. So just because we have an emergency doesn't mean that we don't have to do some sort of competitive procurement in the process. Now, I'm sympathetic
Not
to
we,
this.
the commissioner.
Well, commissioners, yes.
We don't
Yes.
bid.
Yeah, not us.
Right? So I want to make sure.
I am sympathetic to the need to move quickly for something like this, and I think the way that this has kind of been approached is we have a preferred vendor, which is LaPorte County Project Management. They do seems to be most of the work. I would encourage us to have multiple preferred vendors that we can quickly call so that when we end up in situations like this, we can call too quickly and fulfill the requirements that we get at least 2 bids or quotes. At some point in the future, this is going to come back up again, and then we're going to keep having these problems. So not trying to criticize you guys for moving quickly in a situation that requires it, but we should be prepared for the next time so we don't have this happen again. That's my take on it.
Mr. Holifield,
Project management is not doing the work. Pavy's doing the work.
Pavy's doing it. Okay, so Marquis and LaPorte County Project Management are involved. All right.
Amanda, just, what's her name?
Wait, so they are managing it, though? So they're getting paid to do some of the work?
Why don't you come shovel or
Think that's gonna happen.
building next time we have an issue like this, boy? How's that sound to you?
That seems not very
Over the last
professional.
4 years, you guys have acted like we're doing nothing wrong, okay?
Amanda said she's trying to get in.
Gentlemen.
Why don't you follow the law?
We like,
All right, folks.
Guys.
Yes.
we rely on the attorneys.
Sorry. All right. So we have a motion. We have a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
So it's 6-1? All right. At this point, I'm going to open public hearing regarding Resolution 2025-3B.
President, do we have to make a motion to read by title only to start the process or no?
Second.
So a motion by Mr. Yagowski to read by title only, second by Mr. Novak. All in favor to read by title only?
Aye.
Opposed? Mr. Auditor?
By title only, resolution number 2025-3B, resolution of the LaPorte County Council identifying and confirming portions of the LaPorte County, Indiana, be designated as an economic revitalization area pursuant to IC 6-1.1-12.1-1 et sec.
Thank you. Mr. Reardon?
Thank you, Mr. President and council members. I'm here tonight from the Office of Economic Development, Planning, and Government Affairs. We had a request for assistance for a project in LaPorte County that began about 4 years ago. And the name of the company for the project here is Kingsbury Biogas Project, to be located at the corner of 5th and Central in Kingsbury. So some of you guys might know where 5th and Central is in Kingsbury. Most people will not know where 5th and Central is in Kingsbury. Thankfully, Mr. Nibluck and his company, Nexus, did find out where it was. And this was a project that has gone through a progression of, they're required to get a special exception permit from the Plan Commission, which they did. They're required to get permitting from IDEM, which they did. Required to have a decommissioning and closure process, which they have, and a holdback of funding to do so. The request before the council is for consideration is declaring this area and confirming it as an economic development revitalization area. So normally we wouldn't request this in a tax increment finance district, but we are not recommending any abatement on the real estate. And I'm going to go through the existing conditions real quick with the council. Currently, there is 0 personal property tax and jobs at this location on the 28 acres. The current assessed value for the 28 acres is $25,000. The current tax bill is $448.25. As a result of this project, the estimated investment on real property and personal property exceeds $70 million. The estimated cost for new construction is $11.1 million, including the land. The company has agreed to the following: to solicit from local contractors. They are targeting creation of 11 full-time jobs with a total estimated new wage to the county of $1.1 million. The personal property investment is $51 million. Their targeted time related to the installation, they're beginning the installation of this equipment, is May 2025, extending through September 2026. Furthermore, The company has agreed to, upon consideration and if the council moves forward to approve, to make a contribution pursuant to Indiana Code 6-1.1-12.1-14 in the amount of $66,958, one-time payment, and then will, once the equipment has been installed, make it a subsequent payment in the amount of $66,958. Over the course of the project, the projected real property tax is $644,084. The estimated tax savings would be $2 million, and the estimated personal property available would be $1.3 million. So as I'd like to say, today you have 0 jobs, 0 personal property. You get $448. The company moves forward and does what they've targeted and planned for and permitted for. You have certainly a large increase, and also allows for additional improvements to be made at the Kingsbury Industrial Park. It creates tax increment that does not detract from the current opportunities that the county has. It is our recommendation that the council consider and approve the abatement only on personal property for 10 years, a graduated scale.
Thank you.
May I, real quick? If anybody has a desire to go out there, this is on the corner of a gravel dirt road and a gravel dirt road.
First, you got to get to the entrance, which is Huff
That's the good part. Do not drive your wife's luxury car out there.
Probably not.
But this is, I mean, where they're building, it's perfect for what they're doing, and it's really going to improve the area. So,
one other item, and it's related to that, but the company was also challenged to make their own agreement with NIPSCO for offtake, and they had asked assistance from the county to the tune of upwards of $4 million, and it was the judgment of the Redevelopment Commission to challenge the company to say, if you really want to operate here, these are part of the things that you have to do, which they have subsequently done. So we put the pressure back on the private sector to perform, and they were able to do it in this instance.
Another question. Is a representative from the company here tonight?
Yes.
I guess I'm just wondering, how does this work for the TIF district? If we're putting abatements on this would lower TIF revenues, right?
Well, it doesn't impact our TIF revenue. I'm glad you brought that up, because it's personal property. This is not a named taxpayer, and not to get into the TIF weeds here.
Oh, I like the TIF weeds.
Yeah, I know you do. You're about the only one out there. Okay. But we don't collect personal property, which is machinery and equipment, and it's eligible. If the county might in the future want to do that, and maybe as a result of SB1 might want to consider that a lot more often, but normally that's not a recommendation of the Office of Economic Development. Leave the personal property. If you can abate it, that's fine. Keep the real property in a TIF district to use for other improvements there, like the stone roadways and such in that park.
So the TIF doesn't normally collect personal property?
It does not.
Gotcha. So the county and other units of government are actually the ones that are more impacted by this then?
The abatement would work just like a normal abatement, the other ones, but as I said, right now it's 0, so there's really no impact. It's all upside. And then I think there's some odd wrinkle to the SB1 that then doesn't allow for full depreciation of equipment in a TIF district. Your guess is as good as mine as to why that came up, and maybe I'm incorrect, but I think that's right.
Is that going to cause any problems if the legislature is fiddling around with personal property and taxes?
I think it's going to cause a big problem.
Oh,
but
okay.
They kind of already happened. So I think we're going to see some unintended consequences as a result of that. But related to this project, we looked at it as the law is today, and they've agreed to the fees and they've agreed to the investment timeline.
Okay, so this is just us creating the economic revitalization area, and then you'll be back next in a future month.
No. This would be also approval of statement of benefits. This is the public hearing to do the.
Then, in that case, you're probably seeking a motion to open the floor to public comment?
I am. I'm looking for it.
Motion to open the floor to public comment.
This is all I have.
Can I have a second?
Cool. Yeah.
Second. At this point, all in favor of public comment?
Aye.
Public comment is now open regarding Resolution 2025-3B. Any members of the public?
Can I clarify, this is an actual hearing, correct?
This is an actual hearing.
Thank you.
Any public comment? Seeing none, public comment is now closed. What's the pleasure of the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion approved from Mr. Novak, second from Mr. Yagowski. All in favor of approving Resolution 2025-3B?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right.
I will forward the recommendation document as well as the SB1, which you were provided. The council has to sign off on it. I do have, as required, the estimate of savings that will be attached to the document. And then the auditor's office will have all that information.
President, is he here right now, that person? That person's here?
I believe so.
Can I at least come up so I can acknowledge it?
Zach, could you have the property owner, the representative from the company
Yes.
come up so we can acknowledge them?
Ed, come on up. That's the vice president, proud owner of 28 acres at the corner of 5th and Central.
Beautiful site.
Thanks. I know some of you were kind enough to come and join us when we were out there a few weeks ago. So good to see you again, and we just really appreciate it. And I will tell you what I tell everyone else, which is that we do these things various places around the country. This has been just a terrific community to work with.
Good. Thank you. We
Fantastic.
appreciate you being here.
Welcome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank
See
you.
you around.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on. LaPorte County Council Community Corrections Director, America Beatty, regarding an ordinance to, or recommending amending ordinance 2005-10.
With what you just passed out.
Gina's come up. She wanted to discuss this with you, so.
Okay.
That goes with that. That goes with.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I believe years ago, this went before the commissioners and they signed off on this, so I think the commissioners are going to have to amend this.
Yeah.
And
Well, from looking at it, it's a little confusing. It looks to be financial based, which falls under our purview, but yet it was originally approved by the Board of Commissioners 20 years ago.
Correct.
Why were the commissioners approve
Mr. Attorney?
I don't.
commissary fund?
No idea. It should be here.
Right.
No question about it.
20 years ago.
I was losing my hair.
It's been a long 20
I have no
years.
problem with who approves it. It's just a language. When I spoke to State Board of Accounts, they said it's a language that they have a problem with. We cannot use the word commissary.
Correct.
Throughout the state, other community corrections are using the wording marketplace. And it's just the same thing as buy and sell. And so they want the language changed. And then we will be in line with State Board of Accounts.
So, Doug, is this something that you can work with?
Yeah, I can work something up for next meeting.
Yeah, please.
New ordinance, yeah.
Touch base with
We
the
can't touch
commissioners,
this.
just so that everything's.
I'll touch base with the commissioners.
I make a motion to approve it as changing the word commissary to marketplace, and then we'll have it for our next meeting.
Second.
Is that something we actually need a full motion on? Because he's probably going to make a review on the rest of the language to ensure that we're in line, aren't we?
I'm sure we're gonna have to vote on it again. but
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just put it in the.
But get it in the
All right.
minutes, and that way it's
Yeah.
rolling.
Fair enough. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving into new business. Now, let me, well, nope, new business is fine, so we'll just continue on. All right. Discussion on budget hearing dates. Proposed dates are July 24th, or excuse me, July 14th, 15th, and 16th of 2025. What's everybody's availability?
Looks good to me.
It's good to me.
Sounds good.
Is the week prior Fair Week?
It is.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are we going to still have our regular meeting on the 28th, or is that going to get rolled into it? I know in the past we've had our council meeting on Monday, then budget hearings and stuff throughout that.
I would assume that we'd keep the same
schedule.
I'm neutral about it, just checking, so.
No, I don't actually see it.
Unless you want to move the budget hearings back.
Yeah.
We did it,
There are reasons to move it up,
one year,
So-
we did it.
and you're aware what it's like to have things pushed back. By moving it up, we get started quicker, and then you get numbers back quicker.
Yeah. Will you have time to get everything that you need from departments, like, since a lot of those are numbers coming in at the end of July?
Yes,
June?
and there's, and I don't want to speak about it here, but I'll speak privately with you. There are some suggested changes on how we go about doing this, and we are considering meeting with especially new department heads and also explaining other things. One of your concerns about capital improvements will also be part of the request. Okay. So that therefore we will look out a short window beyond just 1 year, probably looking at the 3 years that we know where we're going to approximately be. And then there's going to be some recommendations and suggestions, not just from us, that will run by Baker Tilly now, of how to possibly fund some of the things that we may already have in play. So lots of moving parts, lots of things to cover, and it's worth it's worth a quick discussion, probably about a half hour.
Okay. All right. That sounds good.
So it's set.
So it's set 14th through 16th?
Yes, sir.
All right. Moving on, we've got 3 permission to hire for Superior 4 Clerk's Office for 2 positions, permission to hire for Juvenile Probation Officer due to retirement, and then 2 in the Treasurer's Office, a bookkeeper and a clerk.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Novak. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler. Any discussion?
Just as a matter of making sure we've covered all of our bases here, were these positions that you deemed were absolutely critical to be filled?
So these, I granted the permission to start the process, but I wanted to hear what the council has to say because of the situations that we're in right now. All of these were vacant positions, right? They vacated either by leaving, previously filled,
Yep.
right? They vacated due to either leaving or retiring, and now we're looking at potentially filling them all. Any other discussion? All right. Motion to approve?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. There already was a motion.
You already made a motion.
All in favor?
All in favor. Thank you. Thank you. It's been a long day. All right.
Somebody get this man a Red
Get
Bull.
through it.
We'll get through it. Thank you.
You got to drink something stronger than that.
I do. All right. So now moving on to appropriations, transfers, and requests. If you recall, gentlemen, we have a number of these, all from LaPorte County Auditor down through, almost through the next page, through to the animal shelter. All of these we discussed and granted motions of support at last meeting. So I'm hoping that we can fast track these individually since they all have some level of motion of support. The reason why we can't do them as a group, because some of these are asking for different accounts as to where to fund them from. So I'll start with LaPorte County Auditor, permission to appropriate funds from the auditor's ineligible deductions fund 1216 in the amount of $80,000. This covers $20,000 for supplies and $60,000 for salaries.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Novak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler and Mr. Pressel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
6-1. Request for additional appropriations for DEFC contract from 2024 in the amount of $39,678.82. The options that come from wind tax, riverboat, and general fund. What's the pleasure of the council?
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Novak.
Riverboat.
Motion on riverboat. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Keel. Any discussion? All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
6-1. Moving down to FMEC, request for additional appropriation for fairgrounds improvements in the amount of $150,000. Possible funds, riverboat and lit economic development. If you recall, we received a list of these repairs from Joy Ziegler, the president of FMEC.
She's not the president.
She's not the president.
What is she?
Director.
She's the director of FMEC.
Thank you for the correction.
Motion approved by the lit economic development.
Second.
Motion to approve from Mr. Novak, second from Mr. Kessler. All in,
Question.
discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Keel.
We, in order to meet the requirements for economic development, we have a capital projects plan for that. That's one where we're specifically required to have it. Is this written into that ordinance? Guy would probably be more familiar on it just because it was last year that this was done. But
Yeah, I didn't do the ordinance, but part of the formation of FMEC was to keep the funding a little simpler when these projects are funded.
Well, yeah, not that part. In order for us to spend lit economic development, it has to be in a capital projects plan, unless it's for one of the specifically outlined purposes that's in the statute.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take a look at it to give you a proper answer there.
We add the fairgrounds to the economic development capital plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, certainly add it.
I think the commissioners would be the one to have to approve that, though. So just putting that out there. I don't know if that necessarily slows us down, but
You can still approve it. It's just a matter of.
I think you can approve it. Let me have a conversation with Guy.
And do you want to have a secondary to use at Riverboat if that's not available?
What's the balance in Riverboat? Without digging?
Riverboat is just under $1 million, $959,195. And one more comment,
Qualified.
despite what was said about the cash balances, these are not actual cash balances that you received. These have been adjusted.
So in case lit economic development isn't available, which I believe we've used lit prior, but Riverboat, so that's my motion.
All right, so we have a revised motion
Good with that,
for
Brett?
first and
Yep,
second.
that'll work.
And a second.
I'm not looking at your text.
Any other discussion? All in favor of approval?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. Did I mention that 911's coming off? Did we amend that?
We did not.
Well, 911 was tabled in,
So we'll just keep it tabled. Keep it
we're going to leave it tabled. They know that. So I did speak with them. It should have been taken off the agenda.
Sorry.
Okay,
You have to untable it to do anything with it.
Right, so it's
you
going to
can just
remain on the
Go
table.
and move on.
Right.
leave it on the table. Perfect.
We don't need to add that to next month's agenda until we
That's fine,
request
so you
it,
can tell us.
Just so you know. Yep,
But last month, you did say put everything on.
I know.
Correct. Okay, down to LaPorte County Clerk, the Circuit Court, and the County Election Board requesting additional appropriation or transfer in the amount of $26,221.21. Clerk Stevens,
Hi,
how are you?
good, how are you?
Doing well.
Good. So what we have is an unexpected no ink bill. We did know that we would get a microvote bill. We didn't know what the amount would be. Last year at the budget hearings, you guys wanted the money for this year since we don't have elections. I said, fine, but I'm gonna have bills to pay. You said, not a problem, come back, we'll give you what you need. So here I am. I think that there's a little bit of confusion about the numbers, and that's because last year for the election, we had to rent a couple of trucks to deliver and pick up the equipment. And we got the statement in December. The auditor's office said, put it on the credit card. We put it on the credit card. In January, the credit card bill was paid, but the money had not been appropriated or hadn't been encumbered. So it's been paid, but we just need to reflect that. So that's
the $250 for fuel and oil?
I'm sorry?
No, that's where they're trying to take it from.
No, I apologize.
Okay.
I'm on a whole nother page.
So really, I'm at 150 days sitting on these invoices. I believe it's been advertised, everything's good to go. So I'm just asking for the money so I can pay my bills.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And just to see if there's any money because of the pinch that we're in.
I understand.
Printing, you plan on using all 15,000 of that, or can you give up half of that?
No, we're gonna have to use this money before the end of the year. We have a lot of stuff coming up, and even though we don't have elections, we still have a ton of training for next year's elections. We have a huge conference. I'm gonna have to spend this money.
Printing, not travel.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. We print a bunch of stuff for the following year, so we'll start printing this year.
You got $3,500 for
And-
education and training.
Yes, and I understand that.
$7,000 for travel, and you need, okay.
Yeah, because there's not just one or two people that have to go to this one. It's like 8 people. We go, voter registration goes with us, the entire county election board, myself, my chief deputy, and our elections deputy, because we all need to know what's going on.
So kind of bad we're left out of that. I mean, we're the only ones.
Yeah, to note,
And
we talked to this
$400 for
extent.
postage? That doesn't seem like much.
It's not, but we're just, again, we're stocking up for next year.
Okay.
That's what we do on the off years. We have to. Otherwise, you guys wouldn't even want to see what we spend. I buy the forever
Not
stamps.
supposed
Sure, I
to,
can.
not supposed to admit you stock up for next year. So.
Have to.
All right. Quick question. And yes, Mr. Yagowski.
Was the gas, fuel, and oil, is that to rent, the $250, is that your cost to rent the trucks?
That's
No.
These are suggested accounts.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Transfer.
Well, how much to rent the trucks?
The trucks, it was
But why do they have a gas, fuel, and oil?
$1,010.71. There were multiple trucks. We're a big county. Everything's up in Michigan City, and I've got a very short window of time to get this dispersed and to get it picked up. So it was an expense.
Okay, thank you.
I wouldn't mind transferring this money, but it's May, and I'm still trying to pay the bills that I got in January and February. So I'd rather leave this here because, again, this is my 3rd time in front of you guys trying to get these paid.
Okay. Any other questions? What's the pleasure of the council?
Motion to approve.
Second.
A motion to approve as what? We have 2 proposals on here. We have a transfer and we have an additional appropriation. And then the additional appropriation has 3 sub-choices from there on accounts.
The total you were requesting was the 26,250 or 26,221?
26,221.21, I think.
Yeah, that was advertised as the 221.21 cents.
Mm-hmm.
Motion to approve that, $26,221.21. Out of Riverboat.
Can I add you seconded?
Yeah, second.
A friendly amendment, but if you have money left in these accounts, like the $15,000 for travel, for printing, don't transfer that. Don't move it. In other words, if there's money left over at the end of the year, it go back to the county.
We're appropriating it down of Riverboat, so it's spent down of Riverboat. It doesn't
Yeah.
get moved. So whatever's not spent will revert back into
We'll revert back to you guys.
I'm talking about the other ones, the ones we were going to take it out of.
Correct.
Your printing budget, you know how people shift everything around and do
Mhm.
things.
No, anything
Anything,
unused.
and we're asking everybody to do
I get it.
not just you.
Nope, that comes right back to you guys.
Thank you.
All right, so we have a motion by Mr. Mullenhour out of Riverboat, a second by Mr. Keel. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, LaPorte County EMS requesting additional appropriation from Lit Public Safety for overtime in the amount of $75,000. Please note that when we discussed this last month, it started out as $150,000 and we knocked it down to $75,000, knowing that he may have to come back to us in the future.
Motion approved.
Motion approved from Mr. Novak.
Second.
Second from Mr. Mullenhour. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Thank you. Now, also for EMS, we're looking for permission to spend from public outreach in the amount of $10,000.
Motion approved.
Motion approved by Mr. Yagowski.
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler.
A wow out of the closet.
Whoa. Any discussion?
Transfer, guys. It's a transfer.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Yagowski's in favor.
And permission to spend from
Motion
their
approved.
donation account.
Precious. That's precious.
In the amount of $2,500. Motion approved from Mr. Yagowski.
Second.
Second from Mr. Kessler. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And down to the Jane Bernard Animal Shelter requesting permission to appropriate Fund 4100 in the amount of $35,000 to the other services and charges account for a number of invoices we have here, plus a small surplus.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Novak, second by Mr. Kessler.
Question.
Discussion.
I know that we've had to spend a lot of money in this area, and that it's money well worth spent. I've been there 3 or 4 times this year already. I do have a concern that we have to jump on is if we have to spend $26,000 on security cameras out there. Where I don't think that's the biggest priority right now. We're trying to get this back into.
May I?
Absolutely.
The reason is, without the director having to get up, it's because of the medications that are kept out there for the vets. They have to be maintained and secured in a secured area with cameras, so they have to keep track of for the federal government.
$26,000. Is that $26,000 camera?
I don't do cameras.
This is for the whole area. It's not just for that. I have no problem with the process. I just don't believe that we're trying to put money back in this. You're doing a great job, but I do not.
I went through IT, so.
I know. So there's more to it. We're spending a lot of money. We need to focus on the department, not this. I'm just making a point. I'm not going to argue with it.
This is the donation fund.
I'm just going to.
I know.
Please.
I know.
Hi there, Rachel Delaney, Director for Jane Bernard Animal Adoption Center. I just also would like to note, I understand what you're saying. We do need to, as Mr. Novak did indicate, we need to have the controlled substances under cameras. Another big issue there is safety and security for the employees. We also have aggressive animals on site. We're having to go in the middle of the night sometimes after hours. And if there isn't an officer or someone that's able to be there with us, that's a safety concern. Also with the public coming in and out of the shelter, it's really necessary that we have those cameras. In addition, the security of the building is a factor as well. So the entry hasn't been changed in about 30 years, from my understanding. And so we're looking at security issues and also safety concerns for the public and employees as well.
Thank you.
Do you know about how many cameras it is?
I believe there are 4 additional cameras being placed in the interior, one in the clinic for the specific to the controlled substances, and the other camera system needs to be completely removed.
Door fobs.
Door fobs.
And then also key fobs as
Were
well.
there, I know this is below the threshold for like bidding, but were multiple quotes solicited as part of this process?
We have, go ahead.
So these cameras and door fobs will be controlled by LaPorte County Sheriff's Office Security. So they'll maintain the access, the entrance access, and they'll keep logs of everything. They also record the cameras, pull whatever video based on their, with
So it
their
has to be
vendor.
compatible with their.
Yes. So Pemberton Davis is involved along with Marquis Electric to get this stuff up to speed. I don't remember exactly how much Pemberton Davis was of that quote.
All right. Further questions or discussion? All in favor to approve?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're moving on to truly new items. LaPorte County Circuit Court requesting to appropriate $50,000 from domestic relations. Anybody from Circuit Court here?
This is just an appropriation out of their money.
Yep.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Novak, second by Mr. Yagowski. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. LaPorte County Drug-Free Partnership. Did you get pushed away?
I did. I told her don't come out.
Mickey Webb, LaPorte County Drug-Free Partnership. We're the LaPorte Local Coordinating Council. By statute, we disperse with the permission of the council, the drug interdiction fees that are collected during the period of April 1st through March 31st. This past year, the amount of $59,176 were collected by the courts. Those are then divided into equal buckets of prevention, treatment, justice, and admin. Those are then distributed back into the community, subject to the release by the council and approval of the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute. We're requesting the allowance of those funds to be released.
President, motion to approve the $59,176 for distribution.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Kessler and Mr. Mullenhour. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for what you do.
Keep up the good work.
LaPorte County Parks Department, Jeremy Sebeck, you're requesting $64,574.32 from his non-reverting fund.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Novak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Pressel. All right. Jeremy, do you have anything to add?
Not unless you need me to. I mean, this is a transfer so that we don't have over 50,000 in that non-reverting operating, which is an ordinance. So.
All right. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And permission to spend $15,598.46 for what I thought was an HVAC unit for Red Mill Park?
Yeah, those two units are over 20 years old and constantly having problems. So, and this money, that $15,598 is part of that $64,000. So it's our money, it's our revenue, it's money that we brought in. So just trying to put that money right back in and hopefully update so we don't have consistent problems with those units.
Are you seeing multiple service calls coming from?
Yeah. Both of those units need replaced, and they are hard to get parts for. When Doug was working for the county, it was difficult to get parts. We were able to limp them along, but they're this one in particular struggles to keep up because of how it's routed and the return error and all of that stuff. And for Councilman Keel, I did get two bids. DA Dodd and All Seasons, they're both in town. All Seasons was just, they were a couple, maybe $150 more, and that's who I'd like to go with because the DA Dodd did not include any electrical modifications, so I don't want to get hit with a electrical modification for any amount after the fact, so.
All right.
Second.
Motion approved in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
LaPorte County Community Corrections seeking additional appropriation for lease agreements in the amount of $255,713. Welcome back.
Hello. Marika Beatty, Director, Community Corrections. Holly Grushka, she's our Administrative Coordinator. We came before you last year and we asked for an additional $200,000 for our lease agreements for our GPS units. We did ask for it in our budget in July, and for some reason, it was not given back to us. We are now put in a pickle because we only were given $70,000 in our budget, and we've exceeded that. So now we don't have any other monies to pay for our GPS units.
When is the, may I?
Yeah, absolutely.
When is the grant site? I mean, is this something we can eventually get into the grant?
It is something we can ask for, but I will tell you up front that Community Corrections was deducted $7 million during this budget hearings, and so all of our local community corrections throughout the state are going to take a hit. So right now, our grant only covers salaries. What we pay for lease agreements is out of project income, which are the fees that the participants pay.
I guess to follow that up, these clients, their fees shouldn't cover this? I mean, if they're assigned to wear a monitoring device, shouldn't the fees?
Thank you.
Or these? What's that?
No, he's
I'm agreeing 100%. That was my
How
argument.
come
Because the judges don't do it.
we're that far off?
Well, we don't have all of our participants that pay, and some that do pay, they don't pay what they're supposed to. But our project income account not only just pays for the lease agreements, it pays for salaries, it pays for health insurance, it pays for supplies, it pays for more than just the lease agreements. So we're talking about the fees paying for a multitude of things.
But in general, our judges do not enforce it, Mr. Novak.
Right.
And we cannot prohibit people from coming to community corrections based upon their financial
Right. I get it.
situation.
So,
But it's the ones that are able to pay.
They're not even looking at it. They just don't do it. They just don't collect it.
Right.
so long and the short of it is, we don't fund this. You don't have ankle monitoring devices for participants.
Correct. It's a public safety issue.
Makes things less effective.
Our bills for the first 3 months were already $84,000. We only had $70,000 in the budget, so we had to short pay our last invoice.
All right.
Do you have any idea what the percentage is of the ones that are paying? You know, it always bothered me. I think it probably bothers everybody else. It's a work release program, and they work, and then we don't get any idea how much. Is it 50% paying, or
It fluctuates.
But it's not close.
You can get a good group of individuals that come in for 6 months and they pay, and then you can get a group of individuals who will not look for employment or cannot find employment. So I don't think I can't give you a public safety number on that.
okay.
Did we strip that down?
Did we strip it down?
We're gonna strip that down.
Any chance the auditor's office could check? I'm looking at the budget book from last year, and we had $200,000 in lit public safety 1170-590. I don't remember if we stripped that out in the process. Just making sure it's.
I will tell you that I did take a look at the book that was left behind. It was clearly shown that we struck it down by that amount. Seriously, I mean, I immediately went to the book to double check. So it's something that we have to really consider about getting in the budget in the current year. Another additional item.
All right.
Thanks.
Mr. President.
So, Mr. Yagowski.
Mr. Novak, I appreciate you bringing that back up again, that conversation. And this has nothing to do with you. You guys are just in the middle of this pickle. But yes, they're offered the program and they don't pay the dues. The judges don't make them pay.
Yeah.
We're talking about this is not $10,000, $15,000, it's $255,000. So this is going to be a big chunk next year. And we've asked for this before and they don't make them pay. But they're in this program. So it makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
So, you know, I've said it before, so I'm not going to.
I understand.
You're not at fault.
So then I'm going to, maybe it's a little inappropriate, but I'm going to ask for recommendation here. Do you folks want to have me approach the judges to look at this from a financial standpoint to reinforce the fact that to force payment, force collections?
We've done it
You're
before.
volunteering.
We've tried it, but the
Prosecutor up here, we've had everybody up here. Previous prosecutor, sorry.
So,
Didn't mean to.
so we have new judges, we have new prosecutor. Is it worthwhile for that I approach them?
Sure.
Absolutely.
All right.
Is this coming out of project income, this money?
Yes.
Yes.
So this isn't an additional appropriation? This is coming out of your money?
No. This is an additional. This is out of lit.
It doesn't say that on here.
Hold on a minute.
Oh, 1170 is the, okay.
Right.
I haven't memorized all the
Some reason
numbers
I was
yet.
thinking it was coming out of, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So, Justin, I know you're the most probably on this one. What's the balance on lit in front of you? If we're not, unless Mike has it.
It's 500.
505. Thank you.
503,580. Also, I need to remind you that I've given you the information here, which is not in the past, is that there is a monthly deposit of $707,000 that goes into this account. The state will reconcile this a little later in the year, and if there's additional funds, they will give it to us. And that's typically what happens is they underfund it. This happened last year. If you remember, we received like $1.3 million at the end of the year. We're on a pace of getting 8.4 million. We have budgeted 7.2 million roughly. We've already spent some money in the past, but this is what's available to be spent.
Perfect. Thank you. So,
And we do have a great track record of when we do not spend everything, we give it back to the county. We try to make sure we spend
Required.
what we have first.
Yeah.
Nice job just slipping that in there.
Yeah, yes.
So what's the pleasure of the council?
Look at me.
Anyone?
You need it right away, right?
Yes.
She just said that of 70,000 that was budgeted, they've got 84 in bills so far.
Lease agreement on the GPS tracking device. That's what the building.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve out of public safety lit by Mr. Mullenhour. Do I have a second?
Somebody's got to second it, so I'll second it with a lot of uncomfortability.
All right. So I have a motion and a second. Do I have any further discussion? That'll call for the vote. All in favor? Aye. Oppose?
Nay.
Nay.
Thank you.
Mr. Cunningham.
5-2. All right.
Can we make sure you flag this when you come to budget hearings so we try to get it back into that?
Okay.
We've got it flagged.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Public safety.
Okay. And while you're still here, permission to spend, to provide food for the IDOC training that you are hosting in the amount of $250 not to exceed.
Get permission from the
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Kessler.
Second.
Second by Mr. Mullenhour. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And lastly, required kitchen renovations in the amount of not to exceed $20,000.
Right now, our kitchen, when our facility was built, they put a cheaper apartment kitchen in our facility. And we are now 13 years in, and the kitchen is falling apart. I do have an evaluation coming up in November where the Department of Corrections will come to the facility and make sure that our participants are living in standard conditions. And right now, our kitchen is not there. Our cabinets are falling off. They're dry rotting. There is rust. It just needs to be a commercial kitchen and not a cheap apartment kitchen. We did have some people from the commission office and from the council come and look at the kitchen, and it's in a bad situation, and we just need to update it so that it will last longer.
I understand the need for meeting the needs of the evaluation, meeting the minimum standards of the state. What's the purpose of the kitchen right now? Are we talking full food prep? Are we talking food distribution? What exactly are the daily activities that go on in there?
It's partial. We get our food from the jail, and we get food from the jail 3 times a day, and it comes in large portion vats, and then our participants, they distribute the food. They use the kitchen to separate the food, plate it up, wash dishes. We do have participants who are in honors dorm who are allowed to kind of fix their own meal, so to speak, from the food that they purchase. So it's used every day, and right now our participants, every meal they have to heat up with a microwave. So we have 98 residents who use 3 microwaves 3 times a day to heat up meals.
Is this renovation including labor, is material and labor?
This is the whole job.
The whole
Yeah,
job?
we were trying to keep it as low cost as possible.
When you say required, what do you mean by that? Like required by some state entity or required as in it's necessary? What do you mean?
For our kitchen?
Yeah.
Yes, for the state, we have certain criteria that we have to have. Like, for instance, we have a apartment sink, and so we don't have a 3-compartment sanitation. So we're not in alignment with our sanitation, or we don't have a dishwasher. So there's certain things that we need to have in there.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Pressel, I know you've been out there to review. What's your thoughts?
I did. It's falling apart. It needs help. They definitely they can't perform what they need to out there with the kitchen that they have.
Okay.
And it's not a large kitchen. It's a very small.
Yeah, absolutely. Mr. Rosenbaum.
I also toured the same time for multiple reasons. We also had the sheriff's department there as well. So there's 2 key things that are going to be added to the kitchen that once I tell you, you'll understand. You already heard the story about the microwaves. One of them is a warmer. So the food will come in, get placed into the warmer, and that will speed up the process of a meal period. If you've got 94 people trying to get through a microwave at 2 minutes each, that goes forever. So that's one of the things. The food will then be warm and distributed warm together. The second thing is there will be a dishwasher for the plates and so this way they can be properly cleaned. Right now, there's not a 3-part sink. The dishwasher takes us away from having to have a 3-part sink. So you're meeting lots of different things, and I figured you wanted a little bit more detail. They're trying, and it is an all one unit, and it is somebody who provides for jails and community corrections elsewhere. And that's the contractor. It didn't go to, it was somebody that was specified and who's done work for us in our kitchens downstairs in this building at the jail.
You confident in this number?
It's a little low, but we'll work with it.
All right. So I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? With that, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Hey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. LaPorte County Planner seeking additional appropriation for matching funds for Lincoln Trail in the amount of $90,000. Possible accounts come from Riverboat, or possible funding sources come from Riverboat, Wind Tax, and Economic Development. Mr. Bishop.
Hey, good evening, Adam.
How are you?
Council. Yeah, here tonight for the matching funds for the Lincoln Trail grant. Originally received it 4.5 years ago, but we're on the next phase of the project finally. And so I'm after the next phase, which would be the acquisition right-of-way funds from $90,000. This is roughly a 3-mile extension from 300 south up the Monon Trail, basically all the way to PNC, the northern entrance of PNC. So this is the next phase. As you know, in the past, I always come usually in phases. I usually come from the matching funds for engineering, matching funds for acquisition, matching funds for construction. We're at the acquisition phase now. I'll be before you next year for the construction match as well, and inspection. Those will be together. But right now, 90,000 is what's needed to keep the project ongoing and on schedule.
Match with federal funds?
Those are the federal funds. No, yeah, these are our local funds. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Motion to approve out-of-lit economic development. Same possible question of whether or not the capital projects plan for that needs to be updated, but otherwise that would be my motion.
Second. All right, so motion from Mr. Keel and second from Mr. Novak for fund out of economic development. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
It's closer.
4-3.
Yes, and
1, 2, 3.
You?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't hear it.
All right, thanks.
yes, Lord.
All right. Thanks, Mitch. LaPorte County Highway Department requesting additional appropriation from local road and street to purchase a new hydro excavator truck and a new forestry bucket truck in the amount of not to exceed $800,000.
Yes, big purchase, hi. So this is a big purchase. It's for 2 pieces of equipment. First one is for the bucket truck. It's $246,147. And this is an actual forestry bucket truck as opposed to the one we have now is a utility bucket truck. So it's safer for the guys doing the tree trimming. This one reaches up to 70 feet. The one we have now reaches 55 feet. The one we have now would move to the rolling shop. And as you know, all the tree work we have to do is like never ending. So this way each district would have their own bucket truck. And then the second piece of equipment is the hydro excavator. It is $536,000. Yeah. There's actually 2 that we're looking at. That's the one that's the most expensive. The other one is only $648 difference, lower in price. But they have different things that they do, and we're on the fence as to which one we want. So The most it would be was $536,000. Our current vac truck is broken. We purchased it in 2019. It was a 1997. We purchased it for $62,300, and we are having trouble finding parts for it. They are averaging maybe $15,000 to $20,000 to fix it, and it's not worth that to fix. So currently, we are without a vac truck. So all of our storm sewers, our culverts, anything like that cannot be jetted and cleaned, and these are both major purchases, but we should have them for 20 years each or more. And the money's in LRS. Only the highway department can use that money. It's an investment that the highway needs.
So earlier today, I spoke with Representative Pressel to try to understand if LRS is one of those funds that gets affected by 1461. That is one that is completely funded off of the gas tax and is unaffected. So replenishment there should be similar to what we've seen in recent years. Just at least from the legislature side, I can't tell you anything when it comes to cost of fuel and those sorts of things, how it affects it. But it's promising that this will be one that's refurbished or replenished at the same rate that it's been. A couple quick questions. You were talking about the bucket truck being to where you have one per district. Do you have the staffing at each district in order to support the needs to have a truck at each one? Or are they moving around?
We're short. We're short three employees vacant. One employee's on workman's comp, and one employee is retiring, so he's basically not there. He's off and on till July. So while July we will be short 5 individuals. That's all just the LaPorte district, not the Raleigh and Hannah. They are all fully staffed.
Okay.
We don't even have enough people right now in LaPorte to mow. So it's not going to be used every day. The one in LaPorte will be used every day. The other two, the one in Hannah, they got it last week and they're using that one already. So it's hard to say that they will be used every day, but they will get used.
Okay. And this vac truck, this is not a one per district. This is a county.
LaPorte, and it's basically our bridge crew would be running that.
Okay.
And we keep buying used equipment, and then we put money into it years later to fix it. I feel like this is a good investment for the highway department.
All right.
I'm struggling with this because this is, coming out of a local road and street, this is about half of the balance in there.
Is it restricted or unrestricted you're looking at?
MBH has restrictions, but I think LRS is all one.
Yes, and it will get replenished, and hopefully we don't have to ask any additional appropriations from that. So
when you say it'll be replenished, because
we get the money from the state every year. It's not monthly like lit or
yeah, but we budget that already. I'm looking at our 1782 notice right now, and it looks like we basically spend what comes in. Budget year revenues 1.4 million, budget estimate expense is about 1.2 million. So we're only replenishing up or building up about 200,000.
We had a carryover of $2 million at the start of the year.
Yeah, so that's their cash balance, but we'd be spending that down in order to do this. It would take 4 years to replenish it.
Yeah, but then that's not the appropriated money. You're taking out for.
Yeah, this is the 800,000 you're asking for today is not appropriated.
Minus our appropriations, plus what we're going to get this year. There's money in there to purchase these.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the surplus that we have each year, the difference between the revenue and the expenses is about 200,000.
Right.
So it'll take 4 years to replenish this.
Okay.
So are we confident we're not going to have any other big expenditures in the next 4 years while we replenish that amount?
Well, our vac truck is down, and we need a vac truck. So if we don't get one, none of our sewers, our catch basins or anything in subdivisions, none of those can get cleaned.
What's the average rental on a vac truck?
I really don't know. I couldn't tell you. But we have over 200 catch basins and just 27 in Crestview subdivision alone.
Yeah.
What's the average price for in that particular thing, a used item? Because that's selective. If we're looking at trying to cut back on anything, that would be, to me, sound like something more reasonable. Because the amount of time.
Vac truck, you're talking about?
Yeah.
So there are probably smaller ones in there that will still range, I mean, you're going to be spending over $450,000 anyway.
For a used one?
No, for a new smaller
I'm sorry,
one.
for a used one.
For a used one, well, like I said, we bought one in 2019. It was in 1997, and it was right at $63,000. And it
So that,
hasn't
if you take that number times the amount of years, that's not a bad write-up for,
Well, I'm not sure what how easy it is to find a used one.
no, but I'm saying if you take your number though and you divide it by the amount of years from 2018 till now, that's a pretty good use of capital right there.
When we bought that, it was not, when you look at these new ones and you see the capability of what the new ones can do, this one did not have that
I
capability.
know there's wishes and wants, and I totally get it. I totally get your idea about the bucket truck because that's essential what you're talking about. But what you purchased here in the amount of time, it's not a bad write-off for the amount of years that we got service on that. That's actually a pretty good deal.
And it did not work. It did not work as to the potential that we needed it to work.
Again, there's.
But it's your discretion.
Yep. What would you think about us pumping the brakes for a month and taking a look at, like, you have a asset management plan for all of your vehicles, right, and equipment?
Yes.
If we were to take a look at that and make sure that we're not going to have other surprises, I would feel a lot more comfortable that there's not, next year going to be another $800,000 of equipment that needs to be replaced.
Well, as we're upgrading these here in the last, 5-7 years, everything is getting better at the highway department. So I really feel like this is not going to be something that if we bought now, we're going to regret it later. But yeah, it is a big purchase, but it's something that the highway department needs.
What's the lead time?
I'd like to see if we can make a motion right now to approve the bucket truck as essential, and just get back to us with some details on the sucker truck, or the, I call it
Show us
sucker.
what's available.
Show us available.
There for next month for that.
Yep. I'll make a motion that we approve one item tonight, and then we'll put the other one on hold.
So
What was the amount for the bucket? The bucket truck?
246, 147.
Good job.
All right, so I have a motion from Mr. Yagowski. I'm going to adjust this to, in the amount of 246, 147 for the purchase of a new forestry bucket truck. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second on Mr. Mullenhour.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Motion to table the hydro
Excavator.
excavator
Till next month.
till next month.
Second.
Motion table in a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now, moving on down to permission to spend from,
How about the highway, 500,000?
that's where I'm going. Permission
So
to
it's-
spend from lit for equipment
I'm sorry.
The poor man present. Okay.
not to exceed $500,000, regardless as to what Mr. Novak thinks I'm doing up here.
You're doing a great job. You are.
Okay, so the total that would be purchased is $359,426 out of the budgeted lit money. This is not an additional appropriation. Asking for 3 Ford F-50 utility trucks with a dump body on the back. Those would go to each district. The small dump truck we use for patching, debris pickup. We can actually use these for snow removal if we decide to outfit them with a snow package. Those are $76,402 each. Total for those is $229,206. Then we're going to asking for another hot box. We bought one a couple years ago. The guys like it. We need one. There's one in LaPorte. We're always switching them out through the districts, so we're asking for one more. That one's $39,220. And then the other thing is an attachment for our skid loader, and it is a road widener, so it would be used to do our edging. It's $91,000. It attaches to the skid loader. The edger that we have now is a 1984. We have pieced it together the last couple years to even get it to work. Last year, I know we were using Flex Seal tape and stuff on it to get it working. So hopefully this would work. And this is all out of our budget. No additional appropriation needed.
Questions from the council?
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Novak.
For the 359.
Correct.
Is that the number you?
359, 426.
359, 426.
So so that motion is for a discrete amount, no longer and not to exceed.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Keel. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to say thank you to the highway department. The roads up Galena and Kankakee, Hudson, the tree trimming and everything that's been going on up there before the roads get resurfaced. Look, I know some people have issues with how it's done, but it's got to be done. And as somebody who drives big trucks and big equipment up and down the roads, I greatly appreciate what the county highway's done to widen those roads. So thank you.
They get their hands full, and by God, when you call, they're on it. So when there's an issue.
And this is coming out of the $5 million that we set aside in lit economic development. All right.
And also, just a side note, $1 million of that also is going for the chassis that on the dump trucks we ordered 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
All right. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So now moving down to LaPorte County Juvenile Services Center, requesting additional appropriation for a new gym floor in the amount of $132,000 not to exceed. Possible accounts are lit public safety, lit economic development, and the riverboat. Director Campbell?
So, we ended up getting 4 bids on this, and I wish I could come to you with apples and apples and oranges, but I can't. 3 of the bids that came in, they would do a partial job, but the rest would be contracted out. So I just wanted to make that clear. I did give everyone a packet last month, and you should have that before you. The following companies were contacted: Ohio Rubber Floors from Van Wertz, Ohio, Superior Flooring from Mishawaka, Indiana, Direct Floors from Schererville, Indiana, and the Floor Store of America here in LaPorte. And the following bids came in. From Ohio Rubber Floors, it was $124,000, and they listed what they could do, but this is not a welded floor that they have. The second quote that came in was $69,573.17. There were some items that they don't do. It's not a welded floor. They wouldn't provide any lines, and there would be no carpet removal and disposal. The third bid that came in was from Superior Floors, which was $75,181.35. The things that they would not provide is no welded floor, no lines, no carpet removal and disposal, and the prep cost is not included. As you know, the floor has been in place for 33 years. It is a slab of concrete and carpet over it. And we were recently cited when we had an audit for the condition of the gym flooring because of several places where the carpet is just dismantled or mangled. The last bid that we got came from Floor Store of America, and it was $132,000, which is the entire job that was done, which includes flooring, center court and free throw area, acrylic adhesive weld rods. They would remove the existing floor, and taking up that carpet, that concrete has to come up for the removal of the carpet and for the application of something else. So there's some work that needs to be done. They would install the flooring, and it would be a welded floor. And then that also includes the labor to paint lines for basketball and volleyball. I did some research and looked up the benefits of why a welded floor, and it increases longevity. The seams don't come up. It's a higher quality build.
The welding joints help in creating high tensile strength. It's one of the best techniques for heavy-duty applications that it delivers exceptional strength. Welding provides durability, and this process creates resilient structures that can withstand harsh environmental conditions. So those were the bids that came in. And just a reminder, we've been without the Gym 4 has been in place for 33 years, and it's in dire need of replacing. We get a lot of use out of that gym. The physical education part of what we do is highly important for the youth, especially those that are there with extended periods of time. And it's just very, very important for our facility to operate functionally and effectively and do what we do. And just on a side note, I'm very, very proud and happy in the position that I'm in. I get great pleasure out of doing my job. And for me, the motivating factors are twofold. Number one, I enjoy the ability to impact the youth of LaPorte County. It's a very special mission for me to see kids from Rolling Prairie, Michigan City, LaPorte, everywhere in the county that a lot of people have given up on, or kids that have been impacted by life that all of us are dealing with, and to be able to touch their lives is incredible. And the other motivating factor for me is the employees that are from LaPorte County, and they give their heart, body, and soul to this job and helping these kids, and it does make a difference. I truly believe that we avert and stop and make a difference in kids' lives, and they don't grow up to be what everyone expects them to be. And that's why this is so important to me as well as the JSC family.
Questions from the council?
Does that bid also include skim coating if needed?
Yes.
I think that's what I thought. It's a big area to skim coat.
Yes.
We asked you earlier tonight, actually, you volunteered it, and I think Councilman Kronka followed up on it. The number of kids that are currently in the facility is 18 that would be able to use this gym?
18, plus we also have Nova kids in the building as well. Currently, it would be 18 plus add an additional 4, so it'd be 22. 22 kids would be able to use that gym.
I mean, I think they should have good facilities, and I've seen the carpet gym floor myself, and it's definitely in need of replacement. I do struggle to justify the cost here for the small number of kids that are able to use it.
What do you mean by small number of kids that are able to use it?
I mean, 22.
That's not true. Last year we serviced 345 kids total. And so there's many more kids that come through, but currently that's how many are in the building.
Okay.
So
But
that
at like any given time,
it's not accurate when you say there's only 22 kids, because last year we serviced 345 kids.
Okay, I suppose I should reframe it. The average daily population that you have in the facility is that 22?
Right now we have 22.
Is that reflective or close to reflective of what it would be throughout the year as an average?
It fluctuates. I wasn't prepared to answer that question, so I don't have figures, but it does fluctuate.
I got a question on the difference, and I think you mentioned already that like the 69,000 and change and the 75,000, but that doesn't include everything?
No, sir. No, sir.
Doesn't include removing the carpet.
Removing it.
Yeah, it
Or
doesn't.
skim coating it or preparing.
Yeah, I tried to place in red lettering what it doesn't include.
And it's not the same product.
No.
Do you happen to know?
And let me say that, I apologize for interrupting.
Nope.
It would be hard to give an estimate knowing that more than likely they'd have to do what they do. Then we'd have to have contractors come in later and say, well, with this, what you have, this is how much all the additional items would cost.
Did any of the first 3 give you a price on removing the carpet, or they don't want anything to do with it?
I'd have to.
Did they give you a separate price and say,
No, they did not.
so they're not interested in pulling the carpet out?
Basically, yeah, they don't want anything to do with that. We would either have to find contractors, or they said they could reach out to some of theirs, which would be even.
But they didn't take the time to go,
No. And
we don't do it, but Bob does it.
Correct.
I'm going to call Bob, and Bob's going to be part of my bid. And
Can we remove
we're
it
gonna put
ourselves, like
And it took
in-house?
3 months to
That's what I
actually
wouldn't-
get one of them to get any kind of price to me.
She's got to hear that. Wait a second.
Yeah.
And we're talking, what's it gonna take if the floor needs to be repaired? the corners of those tiles that come up, why do you think the floor comes up? If it takes 3 months to get a bid from them, it's gonna take how long to get them to come out and repair it versus the welded floor? It is down. You're not gonna have the corners coming up, you're not gonna have water getting underneath of it, sweat, blood, everything that the kids, they're out there, scrape their knee. It's just,
Removing the carpet, would that something maintenance can take care of?
no, not to remove and prepare that floor. We don't know what's underneath
No,
of
I'm
it.
not
If
saying
it's-
prepare it, I'm just saying, could cut
We don't have
to
the
cut
staff.
a little bit of this cost is what I'm looking
We don't have the staff right now.
It's glued down, so it's not like pulling it out of your
No.
house and pulling the corners up and then just.
There might be pieces that you can get, but it's actually completely glued down to that concrete, and we don't, as far as maintenance goes.
Dion, my question was going to be, do you have an expected life expectancy for that high bid one? Do you have any-
No, sir, I don't have that. I can reach out to them absolutely, since they're a local company, and get that answer for you, but no, I do not have that answer. But I do know
was
that
the question?
the welded floor, from the research that I've done, is going to give you the longevity that you need. It's going to be the highest quality build. So I can say that in comparison to the other 3 bids that came in, they wouldn't do a welded floor. A welded floor provides the highest quality.
Thank you.
Especially when you get a sheet of goods like that, it comes in like 12, 15 feet wide, so you're gonna have a seam every 12 or 15 feet through there, so I agree.
I'll be honest, I'm on the fence about it. How would you feel about pushing another month? I know we routinely do this to you, but I could be.
I'm not good with pushing things down the road. I understand you have a job to do, but I think this has been pushed down the road for 33 years. And what we have in there was originally put in there 33 years ago. And I think it's kind of, for me, I love LaPorte County. Whatever I do, I want it to reflect what this county is all about. And when people come into this facility and see that, it brings a negative connotation to our entire county. And it says that our county doesn't care about what we're doing. And for me, I care about the kids, as most people do in LaPorte County. So I think that it should reflect that. I'm not coming in and asking for a new gym floor from 5 years ago. We're talking 33 years. So this is not anything that I think needs to be pushed down the road.
And to that respect, the building has shown the 33 years of, here, let's build it and not take care of it.
Yes,
Now,
there's 33 years.
Needs a lot of work.
Which one of those two do you think, after talking to the 2 companies, Floor Store in Ohio, which ones?
To be honest with you, I took this project on later. It was started by our maintenance and the former director, and I picked it up after the transition from maintenance director to who they just hired, Ms. Davis. So for me personally, I always like to go with LaPorte County, even though it is the higher bid. It's local, and if something happens, they'll be right there.
Well, I think that's how the council's always felt, as local if possible.
Yeah, and I agree with that, sir.
Any further questions?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask the contractor,
Yep.
your opinion.
So I don't have much experience with welded floors, but I would venture to say Dion's on the right track of that's going to be the longest lasting, biggest bang for our buck. If we're going to do it, I would think that would be the option to go with.
Anytime you peel carpet up off a concrete floor, if you're not gonna skim coat it, you're
There's
gonna.
a reason they're not wanting to quote it.
Right.
That they don't want any part of it. It's going to pull concrete. It's going to require a lot of work. I believe normally it's either a chemical peel or they heat it up as they go to try to get the glue to cut loose.
Right.
It's a very labor intensive process.
If there's not any other discussion, I'm going to ask for a motion.
I'll make a motion to go with the Floor Store bid on the 100, I know it's the highest, 132,000, but as it was brought up, and I know I feel this way, and I think most everybody does, local, and if there is an issue, why, they do have a good reputation, I know that, and
Where are you gonna pay it out of? JV in the capital plan there, Mr. Attorney?
Here's the,
It will be by the.
I emailed it to you, by the way. Okay. So you have it now.
how much for public safety, how much, What do you have in there?
What did we spend? earlier?
530?
But didn't we spend something on this?
We spent 75,000, and then we spent the 200 and some thousand.
Yeah.
Marika's.
So that
We think
255.
there's going to be more.
Oh, that 255 came out.
More in there.
Sorry.
You don't think so?
Yeah.
Not that much.
Just 255 came from lit.
Right, that's what I was just telling.
It's close.
Riverboat. We spent some of that.
Good work.
It sounds like there's enough balance.
What recommendation do you guys have?
I would suggest public safety because that's the one that's best funded for the year.
Right.
Okay, public safety.
Thank you.
So a motion spent from public safety for Mr. Mullenhour for the full $132,000. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Novak. Any last minute discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
With the two names?
4-3. 1, 2, 3.
Got it.
Good luck with
Good
it.
luck.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it, council. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be out to see it.
You're a rock star.
All right. LaPorte County Engineer, request permission to spend $154,000 from Cume Bridge to make up the difference for quote in 2019 for construction for bridge number 97.
Bridge 97, 1300 south, 75 east on the Kinky River. So what you're looking in front of you is, I'm asking for 20% of the total cost, the construction cost. Originally, I think in emails in the past, maybe last month, when we originally applied for these funds, we were awarded based on our application, and the application was in 19 or 2020, I believe. And so obviously the inflation, the bid came extremely higher, I think maybe 10% higher than what our original ask was for. And so I was able to negotiate, instead of coming to you for 420,000, I'm coming for you for 154. So I was able to get additional funds to help fund this. And that roughly is 20% of construction and construction inspection costs. And with the grant covering 930 and change.
Got a question, Mr. President?
Yeah, absolutely.
This may not reflect this particular bridge. If it did, I'm sorry, but because they only put bridge numbers, and I'm totally opposed to this, as you all know. So, which the bridge that we found out that we had to close? What bridge was that? Was it
39?
525 something. What was the intersection there?
The one that deteriorated quicker than we thought.
525 east. That's under engineering now. We're using local funds for that. I think that's going to be done and out for bid soon. I think 6 to 8 weeks.
So
That's
we were,
the Bigler Road one, right?
What's
Like Bigler Road to whatever that.
No.
No.
He's talking about, this is,
I totally have changed
The
something.
one where the pilings were
525 east.
rotted off.
right.
Oh, that one. Okay.
What I'm more nervous about with all these bids coming up, the county's never, as far as I can remember, in 20-some years, ever turned down a bridge. Now, we may have lowered the weight down because we say we don't have the money yet because you have to wait until it reaches certain blah, blah, blah. But we have never turned down. How did we end up getting in that predicament? 'Cause we have these, I mean, because I helped before pick some of these out. I don't know who picked the engineering that did the,
These were all federally funded, and they were done by the bridge inspection report.
I know.
And
How did we
prioritized
miss,
by that.
how did we miss this one?
Oh, you're talking about 39?
Yes, sir.
If you look at the individual bridge reports, it deteriorated super fast over the course of 24 months. They inspect those every 24 months. And if you look at pictures 24 months prior, there was a big...
Okay, why I'm asking, what was the company that did it?
Oh, USI.
Okay, what's the company that's doing this one?
USI. Is the inspect? No, not in this. This would be done by...
Somebody inspects it. I don't
Who's
care
fixing the bridge
who
that
inspected
was
the bridge.
undermining?
Yeah, USI.
Given that oversight, that might be reason to exclude someone from future projects.
Well, they're not doing any of our bridge. They did the bridge inspection report.
Yeah.
They haven't done any bridges.
No,
Is there anything in the report, so if a bridge, let's say this one, and we had this conversation the other day, if a bridge gets flagged, does it get, somebody go out there and inspect it, say every 6 months or every once a year? Do they expedite that?
The federal frequency, it's either every 12 months or every 24.
So how come this bridge didn't get flagged to get a 12-month check?
Good question. And be honest with you, because it wasn't on the priority list. You know, there's 118 bridges.
Whose date? Tell us.
USI on their priority list for our bridge inspection report.
Okay.
It wasn't the top 20 bridges at the time.
I'm not trying to
so
pick,
it didn't get flagged.
I'm not trying to pick you in this conversation.
Yeah.
We've gone into this conversation a couple times, more than once. It worries me how we allowed it to get to this point, because again, I have never seen the county refuse the safety of our bridges. And I don't know, I don't have that warm and fuzzy feeling anymore that I did in the past, because I said we're willing to fix the things. Now I do understand if you have an issue where it's degrading and you have to lower the amount of truck weight or whatever, we use some intelligence behind this. I like to see if we could get back to, and that's why I'm asking this question, because I was at one time a representative, I think it was vice president at the time, and I was appointed it. Like the one person in the council, that we have a council, we have a commissioner, and we have the highway, you, for example, Mitch, and we have a highway bridge person to be in the bid process, so we have more people looking at this. Because I'd rather feel more comfortable, and I'm not feeling that comfort right now.
Are you talking about the scoring of like engineering contracts?
They send the scorings out.
Yeah, those rotate, but
again,
it's kind of a flawed system.
Well, it wasn't when I did it, because we had a system that I know I used to bid the same bridges for NICTE. I know the system very, very well. There's nothing flawed about the process.
I'm saying the current one, not the old one.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to put this all as one story, that we need to get better at what we're doing. We're not getting better.
Right.
I like to return to a representative of the council so we have some input to this thing.
Who draws up the specs for the engineering company to inspect? Is that our set of stuff, or is this the state standard, the federal standard?
Oh, well, it's federal standards, and they check every bridge according to those.
And then they give you a report.
Yeah, there's a whole report.
There's
an executive summary for
the number of cars traveling on it,
all that
have something to do with it.
Yeah.
The population down at the end of the road.
Well, yeah,
those
car
all
travel, all that.
So a less traveled bridge is going to score lower than a hypothetically.
It's one factor,
Right.
many. I could show you all the factors that are into that, but
Hopefully this is
a long discussion.
Hopefully this is a cautionary tale to the companies that do these bridge inspection reports, because if that bridge had collapsed with a school bus of kids on it, you better believe they would have been suing them for quite a bit of money.
Mm-hmm. Right. We could go over scoring. I mean, that was what we use now was introduced by the old county attorney, I believe. It was one councilman, one commissioner.
What do other counties do for the scoring?
You want to be on it.
It's all different, to be honest. Most of the time, what you'll find is it's the engineer, highway supervisor, planner, another county. So there's no elected officials on the board. Then there's other counties that go with majority public officials.
So, like, example, like NICTE, it was our board with one of the engineers, so on and so forth. So we included everybody in that aspect of it. That's not uncommon for the area. There are some, you said this 100% one way, 100% the other way, but I just don't feel good about this process. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the way we score it now, because, I mean, there was a project in the past where an engineering firm called me up and they're like, we'd love to have lunch with you. And I told them straight up, if I'm selected to score your project, I'm going to recuse myself. So just so you know, whining and dining doesn't work.
Just send a coupon.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times they ask, who's the scorers this round?
I don't know.
And that's probably why. But
So,
All right, thanks for your time.
I'd like to make a motion that we try to have a representative with the commissioners and the
Council.
planner, engineer, highway department to review these
In council.
and council. Well, a representative from the council.
You said commissioners.
You did.
Did I?
Yes,
Yep.
sir. That's why I asked.
And the commissioners. I don't want to feel bad.
If we're opening up the scoring process, I'd also suggest that that the officials that are on it voluntarily sign a waiver that they're not going to accept any campaign donations for the next 12 to 24 months from the firms that they're dealing with.
Yeah, that's your discretion.
That's
I think it's important to have qualified people scoring the bridge projects and stuff instead of them handing it out to people that you might know what you're doing, but
I'm not an engineer.
somebody else might go, you're fine. I don't know the difference between this one and that, what they're doing. If you don't know what they're doing, it doesn't make any sense to have John Q. Public, so to speak, evaluating a bridge.
I have said it, not necessarily lunch, but I've met with the individuals and I've talked to them because I've done it. I did a lot of times that way. I mean, I'm not quite sure if we're going to go over the 24 months, whatever you want to do. I don't care about that, but I think though that if we do it, it's very. You explain it to you. It's a 1 to 5 system. You look for what they're doing, their experience, and that. And yes, you can contact any one of these, and I think maybe a less. I don't know. Sometimes they might have said that to you because just that they wanted to meet with you. I mean, we meet with all kinds of engineers. We go down to Indianapolis and meet with engineers, for AIC and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't want to blow it to proportion that I don't necessarily think that they want to get bought out for a lunch.
No.
They want to meet. So I just want to use that as I don't think it's a bad thing to meet with engineers.
Yeah, and I don't either to an extent, though that same opportunity wouldn't have been afforded to the other firms that were there. So like, someone who's trying to build a personal connection in order to sway the process when it's supposed to be based off of their qualifications kind of concerns me. It's tricky.
Okay. All right. I'm done.
But thank you for...
Thank you.
Just start the process.
so. What's the motion at this point? What are we doing?
Well, we have something on the table that needs funded, right?
We have that.
We do, but we don't.
Well, we don't have any. We don't have a motion for anything right now.
Right. So I'll make a motion to approve the 154 for the engineering on this bridge with the caveat.
Construction.
What?
Construction.
What? Yeah. With the caveat that we attempt to reinstitute the old
Fine with me. It was always the
scoring
commissioner's
thing
discretion on that.
and have somebody from the council representative during the bid opening.
I think you should make 2 motions on that. I think they should be separate.
Okay.
Now you pick a time. Just kidding.
We don't want.
I'm trying to get out of here. So my motion, first one is just approve the bridge.
So I have motion to fund the bridge. Second motion by Mr. Novak, second by Mr. Kessler. I'm going to hold off on asking for any further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No.
Now,
Second motion.
my second motion is to start the process for any future bridge bidding or projects that a member of the council is included in the discussion.
Should have potentially 2 coming up. We should be notified shortly on 2 grant projects.
I'm getting hungry, so let's.
Oh, damn.
Sorry.
Do I have to remind you to eat before these meetings?
You reminded me.
Also, with that motion, can I ask for a friendly? Can we please post not just the number on it?
So you can drive out there and look at
Can
it.
you always add the address?
Well, bridges don't have addresses, but
I mean,
You can put the road number on there. He's going to give you the map
this
again.
thing's pretty small.
I already looked it up already, but I'm just saying that this does not give me any information.
But you can have this too.
Okay.
All right.
I'll hang it.
So
in
I
his
have a
bedroom.
motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Novak, second by Mr. Keel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you. I heard a suggestion. Okay, fair enough. All right, LaPorte County Commissioners requesting additional appropriation for unemployment compensation in the amount of $20,000. Steve? All right, Mr. Auditor.
So what happens is that unlike businesses, the county has to pay the actual unemployment that people collect. So we have, on an annual basis, 6 months of bridge tenders who work for us and 6 months that they collect from us. Plus, we have others. So this year, we went through the funds rather quickly, and we thought that it wasn't fully budgeted for the year, so we felt that we wanted to put this and get the money applied for the whole year, what we expect for the whole year to be, so we're not coming back to you when it's even more troubled times later in the year. So we wanted to make sure that payroll is taken care of. And this is part of the payroll, and so therefore, and if you focus on me, not behind me, I'd really would appreciate it.
So, as I'm looking at this, essentially, and there's more to be said than anything, right? This is to an account that is going to be funded, can't be transferred, or very difficult to transfer.
Rolls forward if we don't use it.
Exactly.
Every time.
Yep. Okay. Any questions from the council?
No, I would just take this opportunity to point out this is why we've advocated in the past that this be put under the auditor's budget, just because the auditor's office deals with it. No slight to the commissioners, just it much better fits into your office. We can bring that up during budget hearing.
We can again discuss it during budget hearings. I have no issue with doing more, not at all. Okay? Because we still have to do a calculation for regular payroll taxes yet and other things. We haven't brought that in, but we will by next month.
You're seeking this from general, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Motion to approve 20,000 out of general.
Motion by Mr. Keel. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Kessler. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
6-1.
Yep, got it.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Port County Prosecutor requesting permission to appropriate $21,000 from their 2,500 fund to be appropriated to part-time. What is this? Mr. Prosecutor.
Yes, so we're wanting to use our own funds, non-tax dollars, for hiring a part-time receptionist. There is a budgeted amount, I forget the exact amount, for part-time help. But in order to be wise with general fund monies, we figure we can use the monies to fulfill our needs without adding any additional costs to the general fund, any other budgets, because this would be a part-time person, so no benefits, none of that kind of thing.
Okay. So on here we see 4 lines where it's part-time salary, other payroll funds, and then $10,000 for law enforcement equipment and supplies.
Yes, we, as you know, we try to help law enforcement buying the equipment that they need. Just recently, we were talking with DNR regarding a new doe model decoy, a deer decoy, because their old one was looking kind of shabby. So we've been having conversations with Lieutenant Brown over at DNR in Michigan City about some of their needs, buying other law enforcement equipment for other agencies, working with some of the municipalities for their needs regarding speed signs and such. Whole lot of things that we're doing in order so that we can have some public safety benefit where the agency is able to fulfill their needs while creating a secondary benefit from our office.
Okay. Mr. Yagowski.
Mr. Prosecutor, where was this part-time position supposed to be filled at, Michigan City or LaPorte?
Haven't determined that yet, but we have found that our current needs among staff take away sometimes from, public or customer service aspects. So I haven't decided I haven't decided on a location. The major problem was finding an appropriate candidate who would work for the right price, at a right price point, availability, that kind of thing. Took a while. We found a candidate. That candidate is still interested. So it seemed to be the best process.
My question would be, I thought that we made an agreement when you had a person, because you switched people around, we got rid of that person. This is the agreement you have with the council.
I don't recall
I do.
agreements and such, but
I do.
but what I can say is that based on we did realign positions based on needs and workflow, and we're always constantly evaluating that. With Senate Bill 1 and such, we're preliminarily trying to reevaluate what the workflow and such. And so this just seems to be one way of alleviating some workflow needs so that we can maximize the efficiency of our current staff.
But if you don't really know where you're going to put it at, for example, you can answer the phone from part-time from 7 to 11, Michigan City or LaPorte, you're not going to fill the other ones anyway. We made an agreement that you didn't want, that position was not wanted, and you traded for it, and now we're going to do it for filling in. But that doesn't make any sense because there's not going to be a place or time that you're really going to do anything. But you're going to work 4 hours in the morning and then 4 hours in the afternoon you're not filling it. Michigan City you are, LaPorte this time you're not. This was an agreement the council had, and I just don't see the purpose of.
That was a position in LaPorte, correct?
Correct. Yes, it was. Second question I was to ask you is that the department, we need to talk with you about this conversation once. It was you're paying benefits to people working 3 to 5 hours a week. You're supposed to be working 20 hours. How is that happening? There's 3 or 4 people that you're paying that they're getting benefits from. Prosecutors.
Well, I would certainly be able to have this conversation with you privately.
I could do it privately, it's fine.
Provide, there is an Attorney General opinion.
But there's a law. There's a law here, and we got a rule for LaPorte, so you can't supersede us. You have to come to us and ask us that. But I'll be glad to meet with you.
Sure. I would say that the generalization of 3 to 5 hours a week is not quite accurate, but
it's not 20.
What I can say is we can provide. There was an Attorney General opinion provided to IPAC and one of the local prosecutors down in the southern end of the county where that it's. Well, I can provide it to your council.
That'd be great, because you and I can both have an opinion. That's an opinion. That's not a fact or law or whatever like that. So we have a rule of LaPorte County. So if I'd like to meet with you, that'd be great. I'll talk to you about it. But I still say we negotiated this job, and I don't feel that we should be filling the part-time position. That's my opinion.
So at this time, I'll make a motion for the $10,000 for law enforcement equipment supplies.
So a motion to fund just the $10,000 for law equipment and supplies by Mr. Novak.
Hold the other one over till next month. Is that?
The 800 and the 200's not needed then?
That would be tied to the.
Because that would be part of the part, okay. I'll second the motion for the 10,000.
All right, so motion and second for the $10,000 for law enforcement equipment to come out of the 2,500 fund.
I usually like to ask, is there any negative impact by separating it and pausing it for a month? Any problem here?
Well, just working on this process since March, and just having somebody to do this now. I mean,
Sounds not substantial impact then, or?
well, just for this person. So, because right now, some receptionist duties and such are divided up among the staff, and some pull their weight more than others, so.
It was the agreement. What would, just curious, what would you be paying per hour as employee?
$15-16 an hour.
Is that our standard number?
I think it's $16.50 is what we have.
$16.50 is the max.
So you would not, these are not county tax dollars, so that's why why I wanted to do it out of.
Clerk is our job.
PT.
Clerks are our job. That's tax dollars.
Actually, these
your
are.
prosecutors are not, but.
I'm sorry?
Your prosecutors are not, but your clerk is a county employee. This part-time person will be a county employee. It will not be a federal job. It won't be a state job. It'll be a county employee.
Even though you're paying for it out of
you
that
pay
account.
for it, it's still a county employee.
Yeah.
There's some funds that I believe the prosecutor has discretion to spend without council approval. Is this one of those?
No.
Well, those are.
No.
child support incentive fund, so.
Okay, so not this.
All right. So a motion on the floor. Motion to approve just for the law enforcement equipment in the amount of $10,000. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we agree that the 10,000 for part-time salary, OA, SDI, and Medicare to hold
over
till
the
next
next
month.
Thank you.
All right.
And you'll meet with Mr. Yagowski?
For the second part.
Yes.
Not the first
Or
part.
whoever you need to.
I'm not going to be
All right.
part-time position.
LaPorte County EMS requesting additional appropriation in the amount of $1,226,459.50 for the installment of striker agreement for replacement of expired equipment. This is to be allocated as follows: first year of $145,000, year two $181,250, and years 3 through 6 in the amount of $292,619.06 annually. Mr. Fenstermaker.
Gentlemen, thank you for entertaining this. This has been about just over a year and a half that we've been working on this. I appreciate all your guys' time. We've spoken several times about it. We worked with Stryker. Originally, we were 1.4, 1.5. We were able to negotiate some stuff. They were able to give us some discounts to get the number down to where it's at. You know, we went from just over a year expired last year. Now we're pushing that 2-year mark, that these are past the FDA expiration that they put on it. I know we've had quite a bit of discussion on where that comes from, what that means. You know, unfortunately, as a health care provider, that's who we answer to.
So we've met several times on this, and we talked through at these council meetings. So initially, we talked about what this expiration date means, and it's coming from different accreditation boards that come down to, they basically make the rules that, I can't say that they're law, but it comes down to who owns the responsibility in the event of a failure. Is essentially what they're leading to. Additionally, how we got to this payment plan is, last time Pierce came in front of us with you, he said, hey, I can look at, different payment plans and whatnot. And we sat in your office and said, what do you think of? And threw a wild number from him and asked for how much the financing would be if we did this 6-year payment plan. So what are we looking at in the amount of additional payment for financing? This 1.2, how much of that is interest?
So that is no interest. The 1.226 is if you paid it now. If you add the sum of all 6 of those payments, that gives you what the interest would figure in at. And I want to say offhand, it adds about $198,000 in interest.
Okay. Mr. Yagowski.
Yeah, thank you. While you're looking that up. So you and I had the same discussion. So I know it's not your expertise, but you mentioned about the cots or whatever, about welds and so on and so forth. And I said, we can pay an engineer to certify that. That's not a big deal. I didn't like their approach to us. They kind of threw a bunch of BS at us first, to be totally honest with you. And I
Yep.
out and out told you.
Yeah, we had the conversation.
Yeah, this is not, to me, I'm very happy about your sales rep or the people you're dealing with and how they approach LaPorte County. First of all, like you said, A, it's not the law right now, but it was suggestions. And B, they just threw a number out there, and I said, if we're not careful, we've talked about trying to get Michigan City done. I don't know where the money's going to come from. And you and I both had that. We've had that discussion also.
Sure. Any further questions? So right now, what this amount looks at is interest in the amount of $270,266.74 over a period of 6 years. But if you look at it, that's the interest related to $1.2 million. So, as I look at this, one reason why I just threw it out there and when it came to this is, we can talk about the $145,000 tonight. And in July, we can talk about the $181,250 as part of his budget, to where he's not coming to us with an additional appropriation. And then 4 more Julys through that, we talk about the $292 per year. So there's just an option, and it talks about capital spending and, projects plans and things like that. Or in the event of, like we were talking with 911, about service contracts earlier in the year, where it sounded like we had one covered, but we didn't have the other. So that's for discussion point with council. Now, one advantage, if you would, please, about the additional, oh, shoot.
I know.
Yeah.
So with LaPorte County signing on as this, the Stryker has extended to any other agency within LaPorte County, that being a church, a fire department, the fairgrounds, like anybody that were to purchase an AED or any of the accessories needed for, they will offer a discount of 40 to 50% off a list price, depending on what that item is. Now, that's also how they were able to kind of sharpen their pencil and get our number lower, is they extended that same deal to all of the accessories that we have, right? You have the core monitor, but off the monitor, you have a blood pressure cuff, you have pulse oximetry, you have capnography, all these other diagnostic tools we have, they're all accessories. Instead of charging us list for those, they charged us the 50% off, and that's how they were able to cut almost $300,000 off of their initial price of it.
Thank you.
So also, just to note, I told you guys in one of our meetings that we had $108,000 coming back from Medicaid and Medicare reimbursement that did hit the bank earlier this month. So, and that is another thing that we would get annually. It varies from $98,000 to $110,000. You know, just depends year by year on what that is.
All right, Mr. Gilski.
So I try to reconfirm my numbers, and I don't have a computer in front of me, but you take the 6 years and so on and so forth. It's like 12%. This is pretty high in respect of, I wonder if if we could look at any other financing on our own to do it, such as when we bonded for the jail. So I don't know. I'm asking you. I'm not suggesting anything, but
Actually brings up a good point. You could just pay for it and then we could float a bond of our own that might be a better rate.
Those leasing companies out there that purchase this kind of equipment and we lease through them. I'm sure you've done it in the past. I've done it in the past.
This is going to take some additional research.
What's the savings of doing this all as one compared to you outsourcing?
It'd be that
$270,000.
Not doing a month, not doing.
you do this a month.
No.
that's good.
This compared to if we don't do anything and just start replacing equipment. Over the next 6 years, what's the savings?
Right. So it was roughly, shooting from the hip here, I want to say that if we did it this way, it was the 1.226, whatever it came out to be, and it was like 1.8 to do it individually.
So 600,000.
Yeah. So we started, this thing started as a huge, his presentation, Pierce's presentation was everything, right? But we already replaced certain items with the rigs. Another thing that would, for next year, that's part of this, and I can't tell you what it is offhand, but I want to say right now we pay Stryker almost $70,000 annually in maintenance costs. The monitor portion and stair chair would be covered under this, so that would come off the annual also, and the monitors a good chunk of that.
So $70,000 that we currently have budgeted would come off and be
not all of it, a portion of that. 70 covers the power loads, the power cots, the monitors, the Lucas, stair chairs, everything. Included in that price is 7 years of maintenance for the monitors and the stair chairs. And so that, I would guess somewhere 25,000 roughly. I mean, the monitors are.
So it's a savings.
It's something. Also, just to note, like our lead time on order, if we ordered, let's say by May 1st, our lead time is 60 to 90 days, and then it would not be billed until after that. So there will be no payment due for at least the next 3 to 4 months.
What would you guys think about giving them motion to go ahead and place the order, but us to take another month to look at other financing options and see if we can find something that's maybe a better arrangement?
You got a point coming from the auditor.
Okay, first of all, just to give you an update where we are in our audits, 2023 is not yet complete, although they've almost pretty much left the building at this point. Okay, they will not come back for 24 until the fall. So we are not going to have other really easy options. What I do suggest is that this agreement Whatever is reviewed by the attorney, and that there's an option to prepay without penalty. Okay? And that option would have to be removing all of this interest at some, at some level.
Any future interest.
Any future interest. So that if next year we can go get this financing at a lower interest rate after we've gotten a credit rating again, then we would have that opportunity. But this agreement needs to be reviewed
Think that's
before
an
you can
option?
approve it.
You have no idea.
Or it's subject to the approval of the agreement.
I'm open to the idea.
The agreement, I have
Or it gives us a year to figure out
purchase
the
agreement. I think it would go, you have the interest per year. I would say there's no penalty for early payoff or anything like that, so, but
I'm not an attorney. I leave that to him to review.
Okay.
So how do we put that in a motion?
So you're looking for a support, you're gonna do a support? You are gonna do a motion?
No, I know,
of
don't tempt me.
Do it. Come on. It'll make you feel good. Do it.
That's the same question.
Do
How
it.
about if we just
Tell it.
table it?
It will.
Needs to be done.
If you're okay with us tabling it, I would make a motion to table it till next month, and we'll look at the options until then.
Keep in mind.
But it's your decision.
There's one more option, if I may.
Absolutely.
Sorry, but when we're looking at lost revenues or reduced revenues, we have to find ways to replace. And one of the ways to replace is by increasing lit. I'm not saying it's the best option, but if we know that we are going to be forced to increase it, and we know that we put just enough to pay this off in 26, that's another option.
But
I'm just trying to make sure you know, but
that clause is in there that allows us to pay it off early.
I think it's, make sure that, the attorney's gonna have to look at the contract, that be your attorney.
So you could go ahead and make it subject to review.
You're not you can't negotiate the contract, so the commissioners have to
do it.
The attorney, so we're gonna have to go through it, are we not?
I think I made a motion to table.
I'm asking. Oh, I didn't hear you say motion to table, did you?
I haven't heard anything yet.
I said you should motion to table, as I said.
You should do a motion of support.
I'm not a huge fan of motions of support for a lot of reasons, but in this case, I think it probably makes sense. So I'll make a motion to support it so that you can go ahead and place the order. And then over the next month, we'll review options and working with the auditor's office, see what you can.
Review the contract.
Yeah, see what you can find, and then we'll figure out what we're appropriating.
You guys on the agreement too, so you can see.
And I would also recommend that you send it to Guy DiMartino as well.
You got it.
So,
Last week.
okay, and then there'd be some additional.
Yeah. Okay.
I will second that to back up my colleague from South County.
Frame this on the wall.
Right.
So I have a motion of support from Mr. Keel, a second from Mr. Novak. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
I got one more on there, so.
Yeah, you do? All right.
He's not going anywhere.
No, he's not. So requesting additional appropriation for loose equipment for monitor installation in 12 ambulances coming from Lit Public Safety in the amount of $20,000 or not to exceed.
So at current, there's only one manufacturer that makes the mounts for these monitors. And it is certainly not our preferred. However, it is the only one available. So we actually just started 3 years ago moving away from that mount, and now we have to move back to it. So currently, there's 3 ambulances that have that mount in it. With just very minor retrofitting, we can make it work. The other 8 or 9 will need brand new mounts. Like I said, unfortunately, Techno mount is the only mount available right now for that monitor.
So essentially, we don't fund this. You're not able to place the new monitors into 9 rigs.
Well, we can, but then there's SAE regulation. Pick the automotive regulation that anything that weighs over 15 pounds must be secured in either a closed cabinet or fixed mount.
Yep.
Motion to approve on a public safety lit.
Second. Motion from Mr. Keel, second from Mr. Kessler, and I I think I heard Mr. Mullenhour as well. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Nay. Nay.
The heart safe. Actually, do I need to bring that up for a motion of support? That Amanda wasn't able to log on.
It's not on here.
What?
Yeah, you want to talk about that real quick?
Well, I missed the end of the conversation, so you might know more. But so we have a task force that's been working towards this heart safe community. We did it in the city of LaPorte. Now we're working countywide, and it's made up of representatives from 911, EMS, LaPorte Fire Department, the Health Department, and
Fire Chiefs Association.
Yeah, Fire Chiefs Association. And we're working on applying for a grant through HFL to support a position that would basically oversee our application process, gather all the information, and then verify. I know Assistant Director Deckard spoke to you guys about the Pulse Point app and all that. Every single one of those AEDs has to be verified that's on that app. He doesn't have time to do it. There's really nobody else that does either. So that would be part of this position. And again, it would be fully funded by the Health Foundation grant if we're successful. So
We need
asking for
permission to hire a new
Yeah.
You're saying no.
Well, we have to have permission to apply for the grant first.
Okay, baby steps, all right.
Yeah, because ultimately,
Since
your
we've
job
already-
description
Correct, which there has been one developed.
And with the understanding, we know if the grant goes away, the employee goes away. That is
And to
right
be
there.
clear, also, your programming, the amount will include, the salary, the benefits, including health insurance, the whole thing.
Yep.
Yep.
I worked with Amanda
Mileage,
Landers
everything. We
last
got everything in there.
Wednesday on it, and that was all included in the job description and the funding request that we'll submit to HFL.
And then we'll come back and ask for permission to hire, once we get the grant.
I'm just seeking permission for us to continue.
Supposed to be the
with that
end of May? What they said?
We would know probably by the end of May. Plus, I just wanted to delay Jeff coming up here a little longer.
All right, so entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Is this a motion to support?
Second.
Motion to approve
The support.
applying for the grant.
All right.
There's no cost, there's no match, there's nothing.
Second.
Yeah.
Motion by Mr. Novak, second by Mr. Mullenhour. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you guys again. I appreciate your work.
Thank you.
on the Striker stuff.
Motion to adjourn?
No, not there yet.
Now, what did you do to end up at the end of the agenda?
You don't even like coming here once
No,
a
I
year.
do not.
No,
No,
you
I don't.
I know you don't.
Jeff Hamilton, Director of LaPorte County Hazmat. I'm here to seek $48,000, not to exceed $48,000, to replace a piece of equipment we purchased in 2006 for $100,000. With technology and stuff, believe it or not, this is one of those things that came down in price. We were not able to get it fixed after 2017, but we've been able to make it work. We've gotten to the point that we're not able to make it work any longer. So now we're seeking to replace it.
Riverboat or wind?
I feel like we do a lot of river. Let's do wind.
Looking at this is entirely a drug and explosive detection device.
It also does the chemicals
Okay.
That explode.
that explode too.
Just wanted to make sure everybody understood that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Wind tax?
Out of wind tax?
Wintex is good.
All right, motion to approve out of Wintex.
Second.
Second by Mr. Keel. I heard some comments. Are you good?
No, wind tax, I'm glad you did it.
All right, perfect. All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay. Nay.
All right, thank you. Council attorney
Jeff.
comments.
I have
None
one.
out of the attorney.
I have one real quick.
All right.
I'd like to possibly make a motion to any future employees hired from today forward that their insurance contribution would be 20%. It'd be an 80-20. I'd even consider going 75-25. But at some point, we have to turn it around. It's very hard to do it to employees that are here now I get that, but if we don't turn the ship at some point, these are people that we don't know. They haven't been hired, so this is the way a lot of times they do it in the.
Are you looking to do this today, or like?
I'd like to do it. The more you delay it, the more they hire. Replacements, we just approved 5. Why are you going to wait?
I'm just
unless you know who
thinking
those
about
5 are.
Logistics of how that will be implemented.
You just it's just done.
I got some concerns for the auditor.
I'm concerned that you need to check labor laws on what you can do.
Need to check what?
The labor laws on what you can do with that.
Trust
Your attorney?
I don't think I yield to you, but you think labor law prohibits you from
New employees? We have new employees all the time that come in on different programs.
So
Well, I think you should,
All the
we
time.
should check our plan too.
So here's subject to being legal to do it. Here's what I'm telling you. The airlines, everybody, there's A scale, B scale, C scale. They all have different benefits, everything. It happens all the time. So if it's possible that, if not,
I think
nobody up there should be.
I think you should check it and put it on next month's agenda.
I say we make it effective now and we just verify it next month.
Mr. Novak, I think if we put this ahead of any hiring for next month, say somebody does leave, you're still going to be effective what you're saying. We're not going to hire. I mean, you already hired the people. I'm asking you a question first, Mr. Novak.
Don't complain when the
Mr. Novak,
insurance
you didn't answer my question, Mr. Novak.
What's your question? Sir?
Whoever, if we hired today, they're under the same program. As long as we do it prior to next month.
Tomorrow they're not, though. If we put it in today, anybody hired tomorrow would not be under the same plan that the council's on.
So those ones that we approved today, those new hires, I'm asking, would that be counted or not?
No, they're not hired.
Okay, so I'm asking you. That's okay, thank you.
Right.
I think Mr. Yagelski makes a good point. Someone that might have been approved at tonight's meeting was under the impression of
If
the offer
somebody's
extended
gone,
to them
if
included
somebody's
that.
gone through the whole thing and they've explained the benefits to them or whatever, that's, which I seriously.
I'd kind of like to see the numbers also about like what are we projecting this will accomplish? Is it enough, like to make a difference, or is it?
So at some point, if you don't turn the ship, if you don't at some point start turning it, it's not going to happen. That's all I'm saying. So these are people we don't know. They're not well-established county employees that we're going to them that haven't had a raise in a long time, haven't had a step increase in a long time. We're not putting it on their backs. We're going to put it on new employees that we've never seen. They're not related to me. So, and I don't think they're related to anybody, but future people, if we don't change it at some point, you can kick it down the road all you want, but you guys are the same ones that.
So
to use the expression of changing the course of the ship here, I mean, usually you want to know what heading you're trying to go, and we don't know that
The
yet.
employees pay a higher contribution towards the insurance. Our insurance, we have trouble with our insurance. Are you correct?
Absolutely
Big
agree.
time.
I don't know what the number is though. I mean, we don't.
80-20 is a pretty safe. 75-25 is a little bit more aggressive.
So let me give a real life example for a moment. When I was hired by my employer, I was hired under the agreement of having a pension. Not 3 months after that, any new hires after that date no longer had a pension. They had a separate fund. It's ERIC fund, basically, right? They're making additional to your 401k. And then several years later, probably more than a decade later, is when there was a change, and I believe that change that occurred to all existing employees, they stopped funding the pension and started funding the ERIC fund. Right. So those are processes that occur in the private sector.
And why
that
did
can be
they
done.
do that? To save money.
It's always to save money. So,
But in your talk to the 75-25, that was our objective 20 years. I'm agreeing. This is my conversation. That was our objective 20-some years ago. We've been trying to do it for a long time. I'm agreeing that we need to do this. I'm in favor of it.
I think we all are, but
I think that if somebody's got a question and they want to wait one more month, not good. I think you have a good idea, and I'm going to support it. But I think that one more month's not going to make or break us, making us rule by next month.
So my motion is to start the process effective immediately, and we can bring it to the next meeting, but anybody hired after this date's going to fall into this. And then we'll bring something back next month. But we got to change.
I agree.
If you want to make it 80-20 and then adjust it later, or if you want to make it 75-25 and adjust it later, but to do nothing, I think is.
I think that the notion this is going to make a big difference in the big picture here is probably for 1 month of us waiting to get more details isn't going to be much. An insurance contribution might be by the employee right now could be like $85 for a single individual. Of that, an extra 10%, $6 to a month. Now we're at
remember you said that
$12 times 5 people.
Money, I'm going to remember you.
So we would have saved $200 and then created an enormous discussion that we have to figure out of did we do it right?
What's it? We can always adjust it. We can always adjust it. It can always. This isn't a forever. This can always be adjusted.
I think you're right, Mr. Novak, but I think though.
There wasn't a second on the motion anyway.
25. My
I don't
opinion.
think there will be.
But again, I think you're right. But I mean, whether it's 75-25 or 80-20, that's going to be a good question to ask anyway.
So then make it 75-25. How are we going to go wrong? How are you going to go wrong saving more money on our health insurance?
As long as you guys don't look at that calendar, because those calendars got 4 extra holidays that we never had. So I'm just going to tell you that there's a whole lot of stuff beside that.
That's a whole nother motion.
I know.
All right.
I'm concerned. I mean, if I vote against it, I'm going to look like I'm not trying to do enough to solve the budget problem, and that's going to be an easy avenue for criticism later. If I vote yes for it, it looks rash because we've literally started talking about this in the last 10 minutes. Both of those are bad options.
Wait. How long have we been talking about
making
adjusting the change in health insurance and putting more burden on the employees?
25 years.
This is future employees. This isn't current employees. So this should be easy. Should be.
All right, second it. Let's go.
So what do you want to do? 75 or 20? 80?
Whatever you like.
All right. So I need an official motion here because I see the figure fluttering
The
around.
dollar amount you want to do? What's up?
75-25. I like it.
75-25.
I think it's a bad idea to
From
do it
today
so
forward.
fast, but if you want to set the tone, let's go.
We got to start somewhere, don't we?
One concern that I have is the fact that we're looking at third year in a row not having wage increases right now and trying to attract further employees to fill gaps that we have by making this change. And it's very
To
quick.
make it an 80-20. That's normal. That's normal in society.
You're not wrong.
I don't think anybody disagrees with that, but my feeling is we give it a little time.
So can we ask that the auditor do some investigation in terms of what this cost amount would be based on what openings we have right now?
It's not what opening.
I can't, what I can do is use the history of how many people have left in the first 3 months and try and roll that and see if that is anywhere near a number that we can use.
You guys want to hold off? We'll hold off. Obviously.
That's it. Mr. Yagowski.
Okay, real quick here. Not because of the county council, but it's mental health month next month. No comments in the audience there. But the commissioners approved. Commissioners, I'm looking at you. Commissioners approved it. So I just want to recognize that mental health is being devastated by all these bills coming up, and there's less and less services being out there. And as person in the sheriff's office, you guys understand a lot of what's going on with the people that we deal with. Second of all, I'm not going to here to pick on LaPorte City, but I am. Okay, LaPorte City decided, and that's their decision, to put brick throughout all these sidewalks. We're going to have somebody fall. They're going to be trying to go after us, but of course we're going to have to fight this. Just like what happened here with the issue. I can tell you what, let's go back to this sewer problem. This would have been Michigan City's problem because Michigan City Sanitation covers to the city property line. So that would have been all paid for by the city, not the county here in this issue out here. They have a lax rule that they don't want to pay. These sidewalks, if you go here and I started walking around, go around the perimeters of all these streets here, they're all spalling.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have a lot of ladies that wear heels, stuff like that. I'm not picking on ladies, but maybe a guy wears heels, I don't care. But no, we're going to have somebody get hurt on this thing, and it's that bad. So I'd like to know if the commissioner and council send a letter to the city and say, what's the plan? We need help here because this is terrible here, but I can go take you all throughout the city and it's bad. I thought at first it was just stamped in there, but it's not. It's brick.
Has the commissioners reviewed the city ordinance? And it's not what I asked if attorneys, you got to stand up.
Well, you've got a business improvement district that's tasked with taking care of this brick. I was a president of the first one, actually, when they first put it in. Not that I ever agreed with putting them in. And I think they're systematically replacing brick on certain blocks. Like they did the block where my law office was last year. I don't know, I don't remember, does the county have brick on its property? Yes. Okay. All right, so but the county doesn't pay for the business improvement district, so I'm going to make a prediction that the county's on its own and repairing its sidewalks. Even though it matches, there's no revenue stream to the bid from the county to fix it.
I don't disagree with you, but if we don't try to go after this approach, we got a bad situation that could get worse.
Yeah, I'm just saying that they've been patching, although they're not keeping up with the decay, that's for sure.
Even if the city, as Mr. Yagowski stated, the sewer line from the edge of the curb to the center of the road, which is actually on the other side of the road, not the center of the road, is theirs, that would save us a bundle.
Yeah.
So, and I just want my insurance thing.
I'm not disagreeing.
Show that I withdrew it for the lack of support. Okay. So. There you go.
Could we then have, I'm asking, we have both attorneys and I hate to ask attorneys, but we have to. If they don't cover the one thing, which I don't understand why they didn't, because it's the city sidewalk, in my house too, 10 feet in front of my house, it's city owned. What's the rules? I think the port's trying to get out of this stuff, but we didn't install the fence. We didn't install this stuff here, and it's not keeping up. It's like you said, I have not seen any repair work. I'm just worried that somebody's going to get hurt. That's all. I just pointed out.
Motion to adjourn?
I would ask that insurance be put on next month's agenda.
No, not quite.
So, motion to adjourn.
Not yet. All right, so I'll get my shot for council and attorney comments. So some of you may know, some of you don't know. After last month's meeting, I made a recommendation and stuck my neck out to the commissioners asking for a consideration of a purchasing ordinance that is a little bit stricter than state code. State code currently says that anything under $50,000 does not require a competitive bid. And I asked as a member of the council and mentioned myself as the elected president of the council, as that we consider that. Now, in my business, anything that is a capital purchase of greater than $10,000, it requires competitive bids. Now, that's not to say that that's a hard limit. That is just an example that was provided. This could also be, there could be other examples of things that are exceptions. May that be vehicles that come out of the state QPA or other things. The one thing I'm asking for is if it's the wish of the council, consider that reapproach in an effort to help consider or help promote considering of such an ordinance by the commissioners, since they are the purchasing agent, in order to help stretch our dollar further. Because where this goes is not only would this apply to additional appropriations, but also budget items. There are other government entities. So far I've found mostly municipalities, and one strong example I found was Vanderburgh County, where they're asking for three quotes for anything over $500. Now that seems extreme, but they also had discrete details as to how simple they could make it. So the sky's the limit essentially on this, and this is something I'm willing to work with the Board of Commissioners on, because ultimately I'd be making more work for their employees. And that's not what I'm just trying to do. What I'm trying to do is just stretch our dollar a little bit further and just try to come to the table and discuss it. So I'm going to ask for if there's any willingness to provide a motion to approach the Board of Commissioners on this. And with any wishes of the council, if you've got any ideas to discuss, I will bring those to the table.
I like it.
I think one of the comments that was made is, depending on what you put it at, it could trigger us having to hire a purchasing agent to do this work for all the employees to get, because they're going to spend all their time getting bids. So it could, and just so we understand what the motivation is to save money, because you would think in the General Assembly, if they thought the $50,000 was bad, the General Assembly would change the $50,000 and lower it to save everybody in the state money. But that's not what they do. So I'm open to doing it. But if the commissioners do not go along with it, we have no, we can't tell them how to bid projects and do it.
I
So
100% agree with that.
once again, this is 100% the commissioners. So
But we can hold up funding for things if we feel like it's not being done properly. That is a tool.
Well, and it's not what I'm trying to do, right? I'm trying not to have to go to what I'll regularly call the nuclear option, right? Where you're just holding up funding because you don't think they did their job right. And that's not what I'm here to do. I'm not to critique it. I'm just looking at where we are from a budget standpoint and with the challenges that the General Assembly is putting forth in front of us, and being more frugal and being more, being more
getting the best bang for our buck.
Trim in how we run our government.
Take a look at the definitions for the difference between bid and quote, because they come with different requirements. Quotes are a lot less onerous than bids. It may not be as burdensome for people to be getting quotes under 50,000.
It could be as simple as screen captures off of a
I don't know if
website.
10,000 is your answer.
And I
No.
And
It's a negotiation point.
I just heard you guys say, and I know we spend $1 million here across the street at Kemp's a year. But it's been said, we prefer to keep it local. I mean, if you're really going to use this, you can't go and play the game both ways. That's going to be a big job, and trust me.
You got to bid everything.
You got to bid everything.
Well,
so no, but it's got to be across the board.
Toilet
So
paper, printing paper.
as long as it doesn't involve that, we're going to have to get more people to work, because I would not be in favor of it. I think that the number is fine the way it is, but if you guys want to change, and if you guys want to change it, as long as it doesn't affect it and guarantee it, that's fine. But I'm going to say right now, you can't go LaPorte County local, because we're over $1 million across the street. And I guarantee you we can save money there. Is that what you guys want?
Did we get a bid on that? Did we get bid out on paper and toilet paper? Do we bid that out?
No.
Do you guys bid out toilet paper?
No. Because he was told to shop local by the council.
But that's not something that
He was told to shop local by the council, so we don't do it with other than office furniture and everything. They just bring, this is a steady income.
Those aren't public works.
Didn't say it wasn't, but it's still the same.
It's the purpose of saving money is what this reduction is for.
I'm just saying there's
Public
a difference
works
between
is public works.
and
Then that's the
There
whole
is,
thing.
but if
You don't
you're
need
saving money,
to
you're
use
saving
it for that.
Limiting
That's
public
not.
works.
If you're saving money, you're saving money. I guarantee you can save a whole lot of money across the street. That's what it lowers down to.
Your argument on what they should bid is your argument on what the public works. That's an argument, or the emergency thing. That's an argument with the attorneys and them. I get that. But this, to save money, you got to bid out everything. You got to bid out you got to bid out everything.
So that's.
So.
Did you make a motion?
I can't make a motion.
You can.
I
can.
I think we need more time to, I think we need more time to study.
President can always make a motion, right?
So I don't
The
think
president
we
can
should
always make a
rush
motion. It's
into
the
it.
quorum that he doesn't.
Okay, I try not to become part of the discussion, but because I've been sitting in this spot and county attorney for so many years, your discussion presumes you're going to get the bids. I can't tell you how many projects we put out for bid and we only get one. So you would be shocked at how many times that happens. So I just want to make sure everybody's aware, just because you put out for bid doesn't mean you're going to get anything back. Okay?
Fair.
You're more than welcome to go talk to the commissioners.
Steve and I spoke.
Yes, we have.
Yep. All right. Now I'll entertain a
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.